It's Larry Shelby, previously on the Paul Feinbaum Show.
That makes Quinn Ewers looks better this year is he got a haircut. That's it. He's the same Quinn Ewers. He's the same guy, man. It ain't no different. You know, it's like me and you get a haircut. We look a lot better. I mean, I love your haircut. And anyway, as we go on, Paul.
It's the Paul Feinbaum Show, powered by Polaris Fun Center, 2 to 4 weekdays on the Zone.
1, 2.
I'm in love with a man named Rudy. I'm okay with that. He knows exactly what I want. He keeps me coming back. Cooks breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. Does the dishes too. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. Last name Barbecue. It sure is easy to fall in love with Rudy's tasty oak smoked barbecue.
Next in line.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and Aggie broadcast sponsors, Cooper's Old Time Pit Barbecue, Cherry Rafino with Coldwell Banker Apex Realty, and Park at Tradition's Exceptional Senior Living. Here's a big gig to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
For 30 years, Save Our Streets Ministries has invested in thousands of lives to rescue, restore, and release families from drug and gang-infested environments. Throughout April, SOS aims to raise money to support their growing children's ministries that serves over 500 children. All donations in April will be matched by Stylecraft Builders up to $20,000. Check out the SOS online auction April 10th through April 27th.
If just one comes out, Lord, I dedicate my life this day for just that one. And he whispered back in my ear and said, JJ, I don't just want one, I want them all.
Help us save our streets.
Water is all around us. Falling from the sky, bubbling up from the earth, running clear at the turn of a faucet. No wonder it's hard to imagine we're facing a water crisis. But we are. So that's why the American Planning Association brings you simple ways to save water at home and in your community. Learn more at planning.org. That's planning.org. Find out how native plants make a great garden with less watering, why a car wash that recycles water is the way to go, how community efforts can make the biggest difference of all. When you work with local planners, businesses, and elected officials, protecting water as a part of growth and development can be as natural as water itself. A public service message from this station and the American Planning Association.
To find the complete list of prize contest rules for the Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM, visit zone1150.com. This is KZNE College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, this is a news update on the Zone. Current and future economic development prospects in West Bryan discussed at this week's City Council workshop. Mayor Bobby Gutierrez supported putting in the city's capital improvements plan, improvements to Mumford Road north of Harvey Mitchell Parkway.
We just announced Certainty, the new development over there. We've got 40 other potential things that we're going to probably be announcing very soon. We're looking at potentially 1,000 people working out there, potentially 1,200.
The council is told staff has applied for a grant that, if approved, would cover part of the $8 million cost. Madison County Sheriff's Office investigating the deaths and mutilation of cattle along OSR Highway. Facebook post from the Madison County Sheriff's Office also says 5 similar cases along OSR running into Brazos and Robertson counties. Anyone with information asked to contact the Madison County Sheriff's Office. Bryan Police providing to WTAW News new information about an incident that took place Monday at Bryan High School. BHS student not arrested and taken to juvenile detention on the charge of punching another student. BPD spokesman says an officer submitted his report to prosecutors. They'll determine if an arrest warrant will be issued against the juvenile-age student. A woman from Maryland who spent some time in the Brazos County Jail Wednesday returned yesterday. The woman initially arrested at Eastwood Airport after a Texas A&M police officer said she slapped him in the face. According to the arrest report, that was after TSA asked the woman to leave after she became emotional because she did not agree with the way she was being searched. She returned to jail yesterday after going back to the airport in violation of a criminal trespassing order. Jail records show she was released for the second time this morning. A reminder, Texas A&M's muster ceremony starts tonight at 7 at Reed Arena. Doors open at 5. Musters Worldwide roll call for the absent, and the Read Arena program will be streamed at musterlive.aggienetwork.com. More news in English and Spanish is at WTAW.com. That's a news update on the Zone.
The Messina Hoff Wine and Roses Festival is back again. Time to celebrate springtime, the budding vines, and great wine. Participate in the Grape Stomp competition, food and wine experiences, vendors, wine tasting, live music, and more. Bring your friends, walk the enchanting Messina Hoff estate, and enjoy a weekend all about wine at Messina Hoff Winery on May 5th and 6th. Find out more at messinahoff.com.
I've got a long, long big way to go.
Tickets are on sale now for the Troubadour Festival at Aggie Park on Saturday, May 20th. Come experience food samples from 34 of the best barbecue joints in Texas and see a country music lineup featuring Midland, Shane Smith and the Saints, Charlie Robeson, Uncle Lucius, Treaty Oak Revival, and more. Get your tickets now at TroubadourFestival.com. That's TroubadourFestival.com. We'll see y'all at Aggie Park.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Sean Burnett with your Aggie Sports Minute on the Zone. This update is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Aggie baseball has won its last 3 SEC series and will have its hands full this weekend as the team heads to number 13 Kentucky for a 3-game series. Coach Schlossnagle spoke with the media yesterday and talked about what Kentucky brings to the table.
Wow, what a explosive offense, strike-throwing pitching staff, experienced team, a lot of older players. And going on the turf, going in some different weather. So what a big challenge and great opportunity.
Game 1 of the series will be tonight with a 5:30 first pitch. You can listen to the series all weekend long on the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Up next for number 24 softball is Ole Miss on the road for a 3-game series. Game 1 will begin tonight at 5 o'clock. You can hear that game on Gospel 97.3. The Texas A&M men's golf team finished yesterday's second round at the SEC Championships tied with Alabama for the top spot at 12 under. Today is the final round of stroke play, and the team is 13 strokes clear of advancing to the 8-team single elimination match play bracket, which starts tomorrow. The number 21 Texas A&M men's tennis team survived a second-round thriller versus Vanderbilt to earn a 4-3 victory and advance to the quarterfinals of the SEC tournament last night. Up next, the guys will face South Carolina at 6 o'clock tonight. And that's your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On the Zone, I'm Sean Burnett. On Sports Talk, Chip visits with author Jeff Gwynn on the 30th anniversary of the Branch Davidian fire in Waco.
The thing about Waco is that because so many terrible mistakes were made, and they were terrible mistakes, and the people who made them should have been brought to, I think, greater account, even though their professional careers were curtailed. It was horrible. It didn't need to happen.
Sports Talk, not your normal show. Weekdays from 4 to 6 on the Zone.
If I'm going to do this, I'll need my news team at my side.
News team, assemble!
Howdy, Aggieland. Welcome to the SEC.
Our program will be built on 4 principles in which I talk about all the time: toughness, effort, discipline, and pride.
Dang it! I'm going to have to buy that boy cream cone.
And now I'm distracted on my point. What were we talking about?
It's bull crap. All I care about is winning. Show me the dang baby.
You do it till they do it right, and then you do it till they can't do it wrong.
Go get him! Why are you dancing around? Eat him like he's a steak.
He fits what TexAgs radio is about. He fits into what the listeners are going to want. He's a pro on every level.
It's Nuño and the crew on TexAgs Radio. Right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
Hey, hit records on my demo. Did y'all boys not get the memo?
Did you guys get the memo? A&M adds another linebacker, but they lose one as well. It is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Maroon never looks so good with Maroon U. It is Friday, April 21st. We celebrate muster all around the world today. But let's talk a little bit about this A&M linebacker situation. They pick up J.D. Davis from Jackson State, 6'1", 225 pounds. Davis picks A&M over some pretty impressive schools: Oklahoma, Kentucky, Colorado. Dion, Prime's been doing some good stuff. But he takes an official visit with A&M during the spring game, and he is all in. He transferred from Jackson State, by the way. He transferred a couple times before that. I'm trying to remember the story I read about him, but his grades weren't initially great, but now grades are getting him into the school that he wants to go to. So good to see that. Unfortunately, though, A&M loses Aiden Ciano, who had to medically retire because of too many concussions. He had a social media post yesterday where he talked a little bit about that, saying that I guess he had a couple last season and then got one early on here in his time at A&M. He called it his dream school, talking about Texas A&M. So unfortunately, they lose out on Aiden Ciano. Hopefully, he stays healthy and is making the right decision for him. But when it comes to this linebacker, we've talked about A&M needing a linebacker, and just because he played at Jackson State, don't. By the way, the Jackson State has some players, as you know. Don't let that fool you. Big programs wanted to get this guy here. A&M adds another linebacker, something they desperately needed. They'll probably have to add another one, unfortunately. They'll probably have to do that. So let's look at this transfer class, at least from a defensive perspective. You've got Josh DeBerry earlier in the week from Boston College. The DB room you have upgraded your DB room, right? You've got Sam McCall, Florida State, who was a 5-star, didn't work out there at Florida State. Part of that 22 class, he joins here. He's going to be really good. Tony Grimes, obviously from North Carolina, who's going to take over, we think, the Jalen Jones role. So defensively, I think they are better. You can make an argument that cornerback situation, they are better. So they add 4 defensive players. They could add more. I'm assuming the offense is going to add some guys. Like if I were a betting man, I would say that they will add, I think, another lineman, I think another running back, even though they added someone earlier this week. And I could definitely expect a wide receiver at some point. Those are questions we can ask Billy when he's on with us during the 10 o'clock hour. I do want to address something that was on the chat yesterday from Calvin 1. Nick, good morning to you. How are you, buddy?
Good morning.
So I think, and you can help me kind of explain this, or maybe you can illustrate what I didn't illustrate correctly. Yesterday I made a comment, and typically when you make hot sports takes, there's going to be one group of people that are all in on your opinion, and one group is like, whatever, dude. And he says, Calvin 1, who's a loyal listener, he says, so tired of discussing last year's quote-unquote excuses. Who cares? We were 5-7, period. That's all that matters. Keep discussing Bama and their quote-unquote problems. Would much rather be Saban and in their position compared to Jimbo and where A&M is. Yeah, of course. Of course you would rather be Alabama.
Yeah, without question.
Of course. That's not what we were talking about. We were talking about April 20th questions. And there are more questions on the Alabama offensive side today. Questions don't mean they won't be answered. They're just unknowns right now. There are unknowns. They want Tyler Van Dyke. Do you remember Tyler Van Dyke against A&M? By the way, he goes to Alabama. He'll probably be amazing.
Yep.
He will be phenomenal. Oh, my God. Tyler Van Dyke, Heisman Trophy guy. Yay! That's what's going to happen if he ends up going
Just
there.
The fact that they're even, entertaining the idea of going out and getting a transfer quarterback leaves, you're going to imply that, hey, they're not too confident in their situation there at quarterback.
This is, I think, an example of people hearing it the way they want to hear it, and no disrespect to how you guys take it. I'm just telling you what I mean by it. What I mean, and I hate using yesterday's topic today, but just to make sure we're clear, I think there are less questions. There's the bigger overall question is about A&M. Absolutely. A&M is a question mark. I'm saying going into the season offensively, I have less questions about what they have than Alabama. Of course I'd rather be Alabama. They're going to win 10 games again. That's what they do. I don't know if A&M's going to win 9, 10, 11, 6. I don't know. Why did I use an accent there?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, even going back to what Calvin said, we're all tired of discussing last year's excuses, right? We don't like to think about it. But again, like you said, it's April. Just not excuses, but you know what I mean.
But I'm serious. What excuse did we make? If giving a reason for why you think something happened is an excuse, I'm not condoning it. To me, an excuse almost like, well, it's okay. You know, like, oh, your quarterback got injured. It's okay. I get it. You know, there's no condoning.
Yeah, fair.
There's no condoning at all. Like, 0.com condoning. I don't want to ever be in a position to where you win 5 games. I am sick of hearing, you guys haven't won since yada, yada, yada. You haven't done anything in the last 20 years. I'm done with that. And Calvin goes on and says, I still disagree as of April 21st. I trust what Saban has done over time at Bama than what A&M will do. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they are still trying to figure out their situation. They have more questions about their starting lineup than A&M does. That's what I'm saying. And do I think that they're going to be able to figure it out? 1,000% I do. Do I think they're going to be able to win a national championship? No, I don't think they're a national championship team anymore. Not this year. I might be proven wrong. This is based on the information we have today. Bama's got a ways to go. They usually figure it out. By the way, last year, this same time, Georgia had a bunch of new players too. Right? A bunch of new players too. But here we are. And he says the excuse part from the description of could have won, but we didn't. Yeah. Look, it's not an excuse. They could have won those games, but they didn't. They didn't make the plays that they needed to. 1,000%. If you want to take that as an excuse or not, they lacked. They were a step or 2 or 5 behind where they should have been. My point of could have won is more of if you figure out the offense, you win. If you block, you win. That's what I think. That is still my opinion. They weren't able to block, so they weren't coached well enough, and they didn't develop well enough, and the players didn't step up. If that's an excuse, sorry. And I do want to kind of go over this because I think it's an interesting commentary, and we're kind of all over the place, but I did want to talk about like returning production in the SEC. And this will go hand in hand with why I had questions about Bama. By the way, I have questions about Georgia, but way less. Way less. Everybody's picking them to be a national champion. People are predicting Bama to be Bama, right? So I'm just saying I have more questions because I have more questions. But when you look at returning production in the SEC, all right, I'm going to ask you, Nick. I know you know the answer to it, but I'm going to ask you out loud. Who's got the most returning production? And by the way, this is not always a good thing, having returning production. I want to make sure I throw that out there. What do you think? Who do you think has got the most returning production in the SEC?
That would be the Texas A&M Aggies.
Oh, really? Okay. So let's go through it. Who do you think has the least amount of returning production in the SEC?
Actually, I don't know that. My guess would be, I'm totally cheating going to our little notes section. Would it be Alabama?
It's not, but they're close.
Okay.
The least returning production is Arkansas.
Okay.
Remember, they lost their entire offensive line pretty much, and they lost some defenders.
Actually, my other guess would have been Tennessee, but yeah, I guess Arkansas is true.
Second, returning starters from 2022, least amount, I should say, second returning, is Alabama. They have 9 returning. They have 4 on offense returning. So that goes kind of to my point about there are questions, especially offensively, about Alabama. There are questions. Questions are allowed to be answered. Nick Saban has the best track record of answering those questions because, by the way, they churn and burn all the time. One guy leaves, another guy comes in. But they as of today, they're questions. They got 9 guys coming back, 5 on defense, 4 on offense. The other team, at least offensively, that has a little amount of guys returning is Georgia. By the way, Stetson Bennett's not there anymore. They've got 6 returners. But A&M does have 15 returners on both sides of the ball, which is quite a bit. They've got 7 on offense, 8 on defense. I'm getting these numbers from Athlon Sports, by the way, who has an article about returning production in the SEC. And we go a step deeper into it. Returning offensive production. Bama returns 43% of their offensive production, which is not a bad number. A&M returns, add 40 to it basically, 82%. Returning production does not necessarily mean something good, but I think it's going to be good. Excuse Central here. I think it's going to be good because so many young players last year played, and they grow. I'm expecting growth from this team. If they don't, it's on the coaching staff and it's on the players. But they're saying the right things as of right now. A&M returns 82% of their offensive production. They return 77% of their defensive production. Now, who are they losing? Well, obviously, some guys hit the portal. You've got Devon Achane offensively going to the NFL, Jalen Jones, Antonio Johnson. These are some big names that they're losing, guys who contributed greatly to last year's team. But it just kind of goes back to my point of where A&M is, right? And another point I wanted to bring up is you look at the returning production. Who's got a returning starting quarterback? We'll go through it. Bama does not have a returning quarterback. Arkansas does. Auburn does. Florida does not. Georgia does not. Kentucky does not. LSU does. Mississippi State does. Ole Miss should if Jackson Dart wins the job, but yes. South Carolina does. Tennessee does not. Joe Milton started at the end because of necessity. He does not. Texas A&M, I think. Vandy, I think. So there you go. That is the returning production for the NFL, college football. And the whole point was you've got to answer these questions, right? Like, I can give you a bunch of questions for A&M right now. Is Connor Wigman going to take a big step this year? Is Max Johnson going to be able to lead this team, whoever ends up winning that job? Those are questions. Sophomore slump. It's been a while since you started, coming back from injury. I got a lot of questions for A&M. I'm just saying from a personnel standpoint, and maybe I should have phrased it that way. Do you think, and I'll ask this to Calvin and everybody out there, do you think, by the way, good poster, I agree. I get the sense that Bama doesn't feel great about their quarterback situation. They don't. That's why I brought up the commentary yesterday. If they want Tyler Van Dyke, they don't feel great about their quarterback situation. They can't. Tyler Van Dyke, a year ago today, was a Heisman Trophy contender. And Miami doesn't want to lose him. They need to step up their NIL game, apparently, according to reports, to keep him. And if he goes to Bama, he'd be amazing. He'd, since sliced bread. But there are a lot of questions, but from a personnel standpoint, I think, and tell me if you guys agree with me on the A&B text line, 979-693-1150, A&B, a College Station branch of the Amarillo National Bank. I think Nick Saban would rather have our quarterback room. Nick, agree, disagree?
I would agree with that, yeah.
I think
there are a lot of, outside of maybe Ole Miss and LSU, a lot of teams would trade the quarterback room that we have. I mean, maybe even Arkansas because they have 50-year-old KJ Jefferson there, but I mean, you get what I'm trying to say. I think we're pretty well set.
I think Arkansas loves KJ, and we're true serum. Maybe they'd rather have Connor. I don't know, but I'm just saying, in this conversation, would Bama rather have our quarterback room than theirs? I think ours.
At the moment, probably.
Yeah, I think I could be wrong. By the way, I don't work for Alabama. I don't know. Do you think they'd rather have our wide receiver room or theirs?
I'd probably say, I don't know. Bama's got a good track record of recruiting wide receivers, but
last year they didn't really have a good receiver core.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like our wide receiver room with Anias coming back, and we're in a pretty good spot.
Yep. No doubt about that. So that's where my point was, and it kind of tied into what I wanted to start the show with, was returning production for A&M. I did want to get into some of the best defenses that we're going to face in the SEC. Maybe we'll do that here, or we'll wait till next week. But that's where we are. I think A&M has got all the resources. I was listening to a podcast, and they're usually kind of negative about A&M. I think it's called the Cover 3 podcast. It's a CBS podcast, and they had these tiers of where teams are, and we'll spend some time on that next week. And A&M was in this tier that could, if things go right, and teams above them, and the teams above them were Georgia, Bama, and maybe that was it. And then they were in a tier with Tennessee. But if teams above them have injuries or things go the right way, but from where the potential is, defensively, offensive line, potential, A&M's in a better position than most other teams in the SEC other than the top two that we always think about. From a potential. We ain't waiting on potential anymore. It's got to happen. It's absolutely got to happen. I went really long on that. Kennedy Cavan's upset, and you know what? Deal with it. You're going to have to tell the world about Taylor Swift later, Swifty. Right now, we're going to swift on over to Milliken Reserve. Best segue of the day?
That was one of the most interesting ones I've ever heard, but...
Do you like it?
I wouldn't say that it's my favorite.
What if we were at
You've had better.
Okay.
You've done better.
What if we were at Milliken Reserve, swifting our way there, listening to Taylor Swift?
What exactly is a Swift movement, though? Like
Nick Swift,
like a bird?
Like it's Swift movement is like kind of crisp, kind of clean, like it's just Swift.
Okay.
And quick. Am I right?
Sure.
I mean, yeah.
How would you describe swift?
Like Evan Stewart's juke move.
Oh,
Swift.
good, Nick. That was a good one.
Happening, according to Mr. Google. By the way, this is about Milliken Reserve.
You already got that on Google.
Mr. Google, yes.
The deer at Milliken Reserve run swiftly through the forest.
See? I mean, by the way, swift means happening quickly or promptly, all right? We're going to prompt our way all the way over there to Milliken Reserve, get the veggies, walk around town, enjoy it all. You can learn more about Milliken Reserve, like the hiking, the biking, the canoeing, that beautiful homes, everything that they have out there. Swift on over at millikenreserve.com. I can't use it 3 times in an ad, but I did. millikenreserve.com. Again, that's millikenreserve.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. Arts Council scholarship applications are now open. Requirements and more information is online at acbv.org/scholarships. The Brazos County A&M Club is hosting an off-campus muster event at Legends Event Center this Friday at 7 p.m. Tickets can be purchased online at bcamc.org. The Brazos Valley Astronomy Club meets this Friday evening at 7:30 at the Physics Teaching Observatory Classroom. Dr. Timothy Logan will speak about lightning flash rates and flooding events. Visit BrazosValleyAstronomyClub.org for more information. The Bush Library and Museum is celebrating its 25th anniversary this Saturday. Join them from 5 to 9 p.m. for a community-wide celebration. Your home for Aggie baseball is The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Your home for Aggie softball is Gospel, 97.3 FM. Listen to both at radioaggieland.com. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Hey everyone, I hate to say it, but I'm leaving Bryan Broadcasting for a new out-of-town gig.
It's okay. I'm ready to take on the assistant editor and content coordinator role in your place.
What about your job as graphic designer?
It looks like we need to find a new superstar to add to our team.
I know we'd love to find an experienced graphic design ninja who can create for radio, print, and digital. They've got to be excited to work as a team and transition between projects fluidly using the Adobe Creative Suite software. They should apply at bryanbroadcasting.com by filling out the form on the Jobs tab, including a resume and portfolio. We can't wait to meet our new team member.
No matter which road you take, the Toyota Tundra is the perfect way to navigate it. On your path, you're your own boss and set your own hours.
Look at that sunrise.
You may find yourself in some pretty remote places.
Whoa, that view. It's amazing.
Or in places where pastimes become stories that become legends.
I got one. It's a keeper. Hey, get a picture. No one's gonna believe this.
And each day ends binge-watching stars and dreaming about all the things you'll do the next day.
You know what? I'm catching a bigger fish tomorrow.
Built to follow your path, the Toyota Tundra. Build yours today. Visit your local Toyota dealer or Toyota.com for your ready-for-anything Toyota Tundra. The aggressively styled rugged Tundra is ready to be loaded up, and you can head off to wherever your path leads. Toyota. Let's go places. See packages and options at Toyota.com for feature availability.
It's Larry from Shelby, previously on the Paul Feinbaum Show.
That makes Quinn Ewers looks better this year if he got a haircut. That's it. He's the same Quinn Ewers. He's the same guy, man. It ain't no different. You know, it's like me and you get a haircut. We look a lot better. I mean, I love your haircut. And anyway, as we go on, Paul.
It's the Paul Feinbaum Show, powered by Polaris Fun Center, 2 to 4 weekdays on The Zone.
TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here on the Rollo Insurance Studio Go Hour, presented by the warehouse at CC Creations. Keep those texts coming in on the AMB text line, 979-693-1150. Kennedy Cavan, a Swiftie, accused me of getting my blood pressure boiling in the last segment. I don't think I got mad. I think I was very calm and direct with my opinion.
I physically could see it. Like, there's a wall in between us to where I can't, like, make direct eye contact with David. But I could see his blood pressure rising there for a second.
Well,
it got a little scary. It got a little tense in here.
Calvin, you and I are good, buddy. I understand your point. That's why I wanted to make sure I explained it. I do want to read this one real quick. Actually, I'll allow you, Kennedy, because that's what you do. You help us with social and music.
That's what I do. Which one would you like me to read?
Mateo in San Antonio.
Mateo, You mean Matt?
Yeah, just Matt.
Okay. Matt in San Antonio says, I do see your point from yesterday. If hypothetically Vanderbilt returned all 22 starters and you compared them to Alabama, Vandy would have less questions, but Alabama would almost 100% sure have a better season.
All right. Here's how I respond to that. A&M and Vandy are on two different levels when it comes to talent. That's the bottom line. Like, yeah, that's why I said earlier, like, just because you return talent isn't a good thing. But we're going to talk about that talent real quick for a quick second. We already did it, but we'll do it again. When it comes to quarterbacks in the SEC, I think most of you would like to have Connor Wigman. I think you would. Look at the SEC, the returning quarterbacks. I think you'd rather have Connor. I think you'd rather have Max. All right, let's go to wide receivers. I think you would rather take our wide receiver crew over a lot of them in the SEC. Certainly over Vanderbilt, right? That is more my point. Moose Muhammad is legit. Like, we have questions about the backfield. Those are legitimate questions. I feel good about the direction that those running backs are going to go because I saw enough from Amari Daniels and Le'Veon Moss to feel better about it. But, and I think Reuben Owens is going to be a stud and live up to that 5-star billing, the top running back in the class. I feel good about it. But like all of you, and I saw this on the chat earlier, I am at show me just because I have less questions. My questions are they going to figure it out? That's my question. Are they going to figure it out? And that could be multiple things. Are we going to figure out the offense? We made the necessary moves. I feel good about the direction of the offense. Show me. Are they going to figure out how to block? Because last year was tough. I feel good because guys are growing and guys are healthy. I got to see it. I feel good about the wide receivers. Anias is back. Does that not make you feel good? Why am I yelling? You're right.
You get passionate, and I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. You're passionate about Aggie football, and that's a good thing. But
I'm not mad.
You're not mad. You're just passionate.
I'm just, rack 'em. You know about Jim Rome?
Who?
Yeah, never mind.
Okay, sorry.
James Rome?
No.
No? Okay. Where was I?
Last I heard, Anias Smith coming back.
Anias Smith coming back. So, look, I understand people's frustration. I am not here to make you feel better or worse about it. I'm going to tell you, this is how I feel about things. And by the way, most of you feel the same way I do too. There's certain things you feel really optimistic about. You just don't want to say it out loud. I have to. If I didn't say what I thought out loud, this is what you hear. Ready? Here to be the show. What?
The radio listeners are really confused right now.
How awkward would that have been?
That was really awkward.
Driving. I got to change the station. What happened? So, I'm just voicing to you what I think. Just like when you anonymously post something on a message board. Like, it's just, at the moment, this is how I feel. That's why I haven't given you, my predictions on the season. I don't know anything. I don't. But I feel like Bama's going to answer most of those questions. And I 100% believe their quarterback play will be worse than it was last year. I 100% believe that. By the way, that doesn't necessarily matter for Bama. They have won championships with average quarterback play before, with good offensive line play and really good defense. I think the SEC is down. I do. I see an opportunity. Those are all things that I see. I feel very good that the Aggies are going to play better football this year, but show me. Kennedy Cavan, give us some updates, please.
Hey, okay, so I'm not talking about football anymore. Sorry, guys. I'm sure we'll talk about football again.
Rude.
Sorry, but we have something really exciting going on. Not in Aggieland, but around Aggieland today. Oh.
Well, you shouldn't call it that. Because
sorry, that's Kay's thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Kay.
There's going to be a fight here.
Don't get mad
around
at me.
Aggieland.
Around the Bryan College Station area.
Tell me more.
Whatever you call it that. So both men's and women's tennis are in the SEC tournament. So the men advanced to the quarterfinal after beating Vanderbilt yesterday, and they play South Carolina today at 6. That's pretty cool. And then the women had a 2-round bye and start playing today in the SEC tournament at noon against Vanderbilt.
Love it. And I think Nick Savage, by the way, has an update for us on men's golf.
Yeah, I do. I can take that away. Second day of the SEC championships, and the Aggies are still at the top of that leaderboard, but they are tied with Alabama Sam Bennett's tied for 22nd with a 1 under 139 through 2 rounds. Posted a 74 yesterday. And let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it going into the weekend. Again, tied with Bama and looking to build on it.
Yep, we're going to have Dennis Dodd here on the show for a moment, but I feel like, should I wait for you to tell the world what you're doing this weekend?
Yes.
Not you, Nick. We weren't talking to you.
No, I know.
Do you?
I'm making the decision.
Oh,
yeah, executive decision.
Sorry,
Yep.
Nick. Okay, I guess we'll wait.
You're going to have to wait.
Producer director Nick says, cut it there.
Wow. You know what?
What live spot do you need me to segue you into this time?
Do you see how he said that?
He's just really not demanding. I mean, Nick always has just a really he has a strong tone behind him.
Well, like you said that about me earlier, but it's different. Mine's a happier
Yours like a happy tone. Nick is like we got to get this stuff done.
Well, you know what? I got to eat later.
Oh, where are you going to go, David?
Thank you for asking. If I have time, I'm going to go by Fargo's.
Oh, my gosh.
Do you know the special there? I'm asking both of you. See if you've been listening.
Short ribs.
Today, definitely the catfish.
Catfish.
Thank you, Nick.
I don't know.
Kidder, you haven't been here in like weeks.
I'm
right?
sorry.
Relax.
I'm sorry.
I've got to get my Aggie ring and hang out with my family. And then later I'm going to go see a friend who sings at one of these arenas in Houston.
Is it an arena or?
It's NRG Stadium.
I'm not going to tell you who it is, though. You're going to have to guess. First person to text who she's going to go see wins nothing. But they got fish there. They got coleslaw. They got hush puppies. And then tomorrow, the beef ribs. Love the beef ribs. They got those on Saturdays and Wednesdays. It is Fargo's. That's the place to go when you're hungry. Yeah, I said it there. 22 years of greatness there in Bryan. They bring all the great food, and they can take care of you for football weekends, office parties, weddings, anniversaries. 1701 South Texas Avenue in Bryan. Without a doubt, the best barbecue in town. That's Fargo's trademark because it's true. Go check it out.
We are going. Are you ready? The Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. High performance guaranteed. Guaranteed.
It's time. Oh, here we go!
Let's go!
Are you looking for investment options that potentially outpace today's high inflation environment? Concerned about recent banking failures or the volatility of the stock and crypto markets? Call Caliber to learn how you can invest in commercial real estate investments right here in Bryan College Station that support the community while producing real returns for investors. Caliber, the wealth development company, partnering with the community to build a better tomorrow. 979-977-2950. That's 979-977-2950. The investments and services offered may not be suitable for all investors. You should seek advice from an independent financial advisor.
You know us through the Aggie Ring and our work helping current and former students. You also know that we work to uphold our traditions and help bring Aggies together around the world. We are the Association of Former Students, and it's our mission to provide resources, support programs, and cultivate the experiences that you know and love. But have you ever stopped and wondered why? Why does the association support Texas A&M and Texas Aggies? Why are we always here, there, and everywhere for the Aggie Network? Why do we tirelessly work to ensure that the Aggie experience is both unforgettable and life-changing? Well, you may be surprised to learn that the answer to why is as unique as your own Aggie story. That's why we created IamTheWhy.com, a place for shared Aggie stories and unique perspectives. It's where you can hear the why, see the why, and discover why Aggies like you are the why. Visit IamTheWhy.com today.
For 23 years, you've told us who you think is the best, and nominations are now open for the 23rd year of the Best of the Brazos Valley. Go to bestofthebrazos.com and submit your nominations for the best in dining, entertainment, service, retail, automotive, health, and wellness, and everything in between. If you think it's the best, make sure it's on the Best of the Brazos ballot. After 23 years and almost 1 million votes, this is the one that counts. Nominate now at bestofthebrazos.com.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
Key, at what point did your food, the palate or whatever, change? When you started making money, when you got to USC?
When the fish sticks turned to Branzino?
I would probably say, to be honest with you, once I got to college, fish sticks, I graduated from them a long time ago.
Why? Why would anyone want to graduate from fish sticks?
Love fish sticks.
You can like the Branzino and the fish sticks. This is what I mean. Y'all are a bunch of food snobs.
Dude, I'm not eating
y'all.
fish
He's the one
sticks.
deboning fish.
Fish sticks?
If your kid has some fish sticks on the plate
on,
and they don't finish them, you're not going to eat the fish sticks?
Are the best.
Oh, I'm so happy.
No, we're beyond that right now. Fish sticks.
I love fish sticks.
Not doing
Well,
it.
Jay has like tofu.
Combine fish sticks and tofu snacks.
Oh, God.
Tofu sticks, same thing.
Fish sticks probably got about yay meat and everything else is all bread.
Well, that's the problem. I wish there was a little more fish in there.
Stop.
Mornings 5 to 8 on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Powered by WC Tractor.
All right, we're back. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the hotline. We're joined by Dennis Dodd of CBS Sports. Dennis, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm good, man. Hey, I want you to talk some sense into me because I'm crazy, and the listeners are letting me know. I made a comment yesterday, and it's been a good discussion because, it can all be the way you look at it, but I think A&M has less questions heading where we are today in April, and I'm talking positionally, than Alabama does. That's not to say that Alabama isn't going to answer all their questions like they always do. But I think, the fact that they're interested in Tyler Van Dyke, and there's been other reports out that they're not happy with the quarterback situation. Bryce Young isn't there. Will Anderson isn't there. They got a lot of question marks that they typically answer. A&M's coming off a 5-7 season. There should be huge questions marks, but I think they're bringing a lot of players back and a different offensive identity. What do you think?
Well, here's why I think Alabama's in a better place. They've been here before. The 11 wins tied their worst total, I think, since 2010. So that's the Alabama standard. We've seen them do this and come back and win a national championship the next year. There's a lot of guys on that team. We don't know their names yet, but we will. Everything you said about them is right, but A&M is coming from 5 wins, in the West. Alabama's coming from 11. So, yeah, I think that's kind of a stretch.
No, I agree with you.
I think Alabama's got a shorter way to go to get there. But I guess you could make the case if it's question marks. Yeah, if Alabama's still in the portal looking for a quarterback, then yeah, you could make that case.
Yeah. By the way, yeah, of course you'd rather be where Alabama is. 11 wins.
Right.
Here we'll throw a parade. There's no doubt about that. I'm just saying, heading into the season, there's less questions that have to be answered from a personnel standpoint than Alabama because of the returning production. And yes, Jimbo's got to figure it out. Let me ask you this: are you intrigued by A&M?
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're if nothing else, a soap opera every day. How are they going to do with Bobby Petrino at offensive coordinator? Connor Wegman going to come through? Is Aeneas Smith after the injury is a huge. That's almost like a trade that you get. You trade up and get a guy out of nowhere. We know what he can do. And then it looks like Jimbo is like a lot of coaches. He says he doesn't read the stuff. He reads the stuff. We know the stuff. So he's feeling it. He's got to produce this year, whatever that means. I don't know exactly, but he's got to produce.
He certainly does. People are getting antsy. I'm at a show me mode, which was used earlier in the show. They got to show me something. I think they have the talent, and I think they've made the necessary changes. Now show me that you can do it, and it's still a big if, but I feel more comfortable than I was 5 months ago, let's say.
Yeah, no, I agree. You'd rather be A&M than Florida. You'd rather be A&M than Kentucky. You'd rather be A&M than maybe, absolutely Auburn, I think, at this point. You'd rather be Alabama than A&M. You'd rather be, I would say, LSU at this point than A&M. But it's, just because it's the SEC West. But, yeah, no, you're right.
Is Tennessee's biggest issue this year? Joe Milton, I expected he'll do a nice job, maybe not to the level of Hendon Hooker. Maybe he will. That offense seems to really click. But is it their defense they're going to be their biggest issue?
Yeah, Joe Milton can throw it to the moon, but, he might get it there 50% of the time. That's the thing on him. Great athlete. Still has to win the job. They lose Alex Golish, who I think was huge. I was surprised a bit that he went to South Florida. In other words, if that was all that was available to him, I wait another year. There's some value to that. We've seen that time after time with high valued coaches in the SEC. Just wait a year. Something's going to shake. I'm not sure about South Florida as that starter job right now for a guy who's red hot, frankly. But yeah, I mean, you're right about the defense. I mean, they outscored everybody, or that was their MO last year, having to outscore everybody. That was Alabama's MO at one time, so that's nothing to be ashamed of. I thought their defensive coordinator was great because I was at the Alabama game, and his philosophy was, we're going to take out Bryce Young. Not physically, not send him to the hospital, but we're going to limit him. And I swear, I think this is true. They brought extra people on every snap from somewhere, 4, 5, or 6 guys. And it worked. It worked at the gun, but it worked. And so that's where they are defensively, where they've got a little bit of desperation. I do think they'll be a little bit better this year, but it's fun as heck to watch.
Dennis, what tier do you put Arkansas in the SEC, considering KJ's coming back, but that offensive line is going to look different, and obviously the coordinator changes?
Yeah. I mean, tier 1 is the championship contenders, Alabama, Georgia. I guess at tier 3, I mean, the way they finished last year was not exactly great towards the end of the season. KJ is another year older. But if you've got a quarterback, you've got a chance. And the Sam Pittman factor, there seems to be a little fairy dust there with that too, the way they play. So I don't know. I mean, what are the tiers? They're not terrible. I think they're kind of mediocre this year. So we'll see.
What do you think is going to happen with the Pac-12? Obviously, they're waiting on the TV rights deal, but do you see expansion in their future? There's been so much smoke about SMU and potentially San Diego State. I feel like they probably have to wait.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I think I was going over tape from December when I talked to George Kliavkoff, which may have been the last time he talked publicly, and he said it then. We've got to get a deal done first, and traditionally through the history of this whole thing of TV rights negotiations, you got to tell your rights holder who you got first. Here's the school that have signed the grant of rights and are all in. Then you expand. Then you vet their worth to whoever's going to pay for that. I talked to what's going to happen. I think there's going to be an entity called the Pac-12 or 10 or whatever it is. What that looks like, I don't know. I have a hard time fathoming Fresno State in the same conference with Stanford, if you know what I'm talking about. If they have to fill in that way. But I don't. I think they'll be around. I think they'll sign a short deal. Oregon and Washington continue to be the 2 best names left on the board, and I say left on the board because we have verified evidence that they were looking elsewhere. I'm not including Notre Dame because I don't think Notre Dame's on the board. I don't think they're available. So what does that mean to a deal? So I think there'll be one, and then maybe shortly after that they do add 1 or 2, San Diego State, but. The Big 12 has kind of sent feelers like, look, dude, if you don't come now, we may not be there if this deal turns out to be so bad that you want to get out. We're ready to move on. In fact, Brett Yormark, I wouldn't be surprised if he had a plan B. The Big 12 might stay at 12. I'm not, look, it may be nothing. But this guy, he's got so many ideas. I watched the podcast last week, and this is public, so I'm not breaking news. He said there are plans for a Big 12 concert tour. Don't ask me what that looks like. Don't ask me who's in it. But that's the kind of things he thinks about. I mean, in that sense, he really is playing chess compared to checkers for everybody else. This thing with Rucker Park, we're going to play basketball exhibition games, and their pro day is going to be at the Cowboys facility. I mean, on its face, marketing-wise, that's brilliant.
It's interesting. I'm trying to picture what that would look like. Dennis, let me ask you about the shortening of the game. I know they approved some things yesterday, and it looks like that the proposed first down, they're going to keep the clock moving, except inside the last 2 minutes of the half. Your thoughts on these changes? You think we'll see some Will it really shorten the game like we've seen in baseball?
They think it will shorten it. I don't think as dramatically as baseball, but they think it will shorten it. And I know there was pressure, at least perceived pressure, to do that with the expanded playoff and the possibility of at least one team, maybe two, playing 17 games. You're playing an NFL season with college kids, 95% of whom won't play in the NFL. They're not elite athletes, or a lot of them aren't. I shouldn't say that. But I think there was pressure that way. I think there was pressure legally, where if they didn't do something, these lawsuits, I think people know, that continue to come. They're against the NCAA, and they're not just suing the conferences; they're suing every school in the NCAA when they have these medical lawsuits, and they're very burdensome, and the NCAA carries the liability on those. So I think they needed to do some things where they could get in court and say, well, look, we did this. They won't say that. They won't admit to it. But because I didn't know this was coming, the first down thing, until this started bubbling up before the Rules Committee meeting in February. I was sitting there going, okay, they finally got it, that this is going to be the longest season ever when the new expanded playoff hits. And they got it through. So it remains to be seen. I personally, I think that was the disseminator. That was a distinguishing characteristic of college football, that the clock stopped on first down. I loved the fact you could get 88, 90, 100 plays in a game. It looks like that's now gone forever.
That is Dennis Dodd, national writer for CBS. Dennis, we appreciate your time, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate Dennis Dodd's time here on the program. All right, we'll get to some text messages on the other side. We'll bank on something, and I'll respond to a bunch of stuff. I don't know. I had nothing else to say. I was just talking. Right now, we're talking Heritage Films. Let's do a documentary. How about doing a documentary on this awesome season we're going to have? That would be cool. And have a chance, do it. That'd be like 30 for 30, though, right? Wouldn't it? But how about a 30 for 30 style movie about your life? That'd be even better. About your dad's life, about your grandfather's life. That's what Chance does with Heritage Films. He profiles families. He profiles family businesses, and he profiles family ranches, and just anything to do with your loved ones. And it's a cool thing to do, to have a documentary done, like the kind you watch on television, Netflix, all that stuff. That same style, the music, the lighting, the pictures, the video. I'm making it sound like it's 1940. But in today's world, right? It would be awesome. And it can tell the story of 1940. It can tell the story of 1999. Whatever is important in your family's life, you want to leave that story for the next generation and the generation after that. Hook up with Chance McClain at Heritage Films. The website is yourheritagefilm.com, yourheritagefilm.com. You can call up Chance directly at 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. The Twin Oaks Landfill Household Hazardous Waste and Computer Collection event is this Saturday from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Find a list of accepted items and a map of the event location at twinoakshhw.com. The Leach Teaching Gardens at Texas A&M is celebrating the arrival of spring with Hulla Bloom Fest on Saturday morning from 9 to 11:30. Visitors of all ages can make spring-inspired crafts, learn about pollinators, and participate in a butterfly release. Brazos Valley Troupe presents Hollywood Cafe, an original dessert theater review celebrating the best of musical moments from the movies, Friday through Sunday at their 29th Street studio. For reservations, email bvttix@yahoo.com. Your home for Aggie baseball is The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Your home for Aggie softball is Gospel, 97.3 FM. Listen to both at radioaggieland.com. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Are you looking for investment options that potentially outpace today's high inflation environment? Concerned about recent banking failures or the volatility of the stock and crypto markets? Call Caliber to learn how you can invest in commercial real estate investments right here in Bryan College Station that support the community while producing real returns for investors. Caliber, the wealth development company, partnering with the community to build a better tomorrow. 979-977-2950. That's 979-977-2950. The investments and services offered may not be suitable for all investors. You should seek advice from an independent financial advisor.
Join the George Bush Presidential Library and Museum on Saturday, April 22nd from 5 to 9 p.m. for the silver celebration of the opening. Enjoy free museum admission from 9:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m., along with special activities from 5 to 9 p.m. Plus, musical entertainment as the Texas A&M Women's Chorus, Singing Cadets, Aggieland Mariachi, and the Killer Dueling Pianos rock the plaza. Topping off the 25th celebration will be the long-awaited spectacular fireworks display. For more information, please visit bush41.org.
Join the Community Foundation on Tuesday for their annual celebration of philanthropy. This year's honorees are Phoebe Watts, Congressman Bill and Gina Flores, and Bryan Broadcasting's Ben Downs. The luncheon also recognizes the Community Champion for Business Giving and a Philanthropist of the Day raffle event. To purchase tickets, go to the Community Foundation website or call 589-4305. Lunch begins at 11:30 at the College Station Hilton. Join sponsor Brio Financial Advisors and honor these 4 community leaders for their contribution to make the Brazos Valley a great place to live.
Have you ever dreamed about getting into radio, sports talk radio? The Zone is hiring part-time, no experience required positions are open. You can apply now at zone1150.com. Click contact. We've got openings for TexAgs Radio, the Louis Bellina Show, and board ops to run Aggie football, basketball, baseball, Astros, and more. If you're interested, part-time, no experience required. Apply now at zone1150.com. Click contact.
What is this song? Somebody tell me. I'm sure it's
the
famous.
Deftones, man. It's a good song.
Did you pick it?
I did, yeah. You can see the chat. You know I picked it.
I haven't looked at the chat. You know what? You can see when I've looked at the chat. It shows my face.
Yeah, true. But
Nick, you and I we're at odds today.
No, we're not at all. It's just, I don't know. I wanted to hear a song. I guess I know you and Kennedy are about to talk about what she's doing this weekend. So
no, not yet.
We might have.
No program director, Nick.
I'm just okay. Fine.
We've decided against that.
All right. Cool.
We've got some bills to pay.
True. You got to bank on something, right?
We got to bank on something. All right, so let's do that. Let's bank on something. Let me get the sponsor read. Bank on it. Presented by Vera Bank. Authentic relationship-based banking built for real life. Go see Joel Jackson and the team. Learn more at verabank.com. All right, so A&M last season won baseball. A&M is a big entity, and they have different sectors. Baseball, they won 8 of their 10 SEC series last year. They've won 3 straight. I'm banking on a 4th one, baby. I ran into Kelly Adams yesterday, who's on the fan show, and I said, I think we're going to win this series against Kentucky. Kentucky's coming off 2 tough series, LSU and Tennessee. We've been down that route, and they've lost both of those. They were hot before that. I think A&M's going to jump on top of them. Nathan Detmer's going to have a good performance today, and they're going to win. So I'm banking on the Aggies winning this series against Kentucky. Why am I speaking with a period between each word? Kennedy Kevin. Let's get some text messages, shall we?
Yes, we shall. John, #name ? I don't know why.
I'm Ron Burgundy?
Yeah. I don't know what.
You don't know what I mean by that?
I do know what you mean by the Anchorman, but I don't remember the quote.
I just gave you the quote, so there's nothing to remember.
Oh, I thought there was something that came after that.
No. It's because, like, they messed with him on the prompter, and they put a question mark on Ron Burgundy.
That's, yeah. Good. Yep.
Ha
ha ha ha.
You don't get it.
That's so
I'll explain
funny,
it to you at the
David.
break. It's so you're fired.
Okay. Anyways, John #name ? Said you're right.
I don't think that's his real name. I think whoever put his name in there.
I just hit my hand again on the microphone.
Oh my gosh, this shows off the rails.
Anyways, he said, "You're right, David. The statement was not who is in a better place. The statement is who has fewer question marks, and we do in fact have fewer question marks."
Just because I know I'm gonna get some weirdo on Twitter come at me from Tuscaloosa, or maybe a very nice gentleman. Of course, I'd trade history with you. I think you had a better season than you. It doesn't take a brainiac to do that. I think there's a reason you're predicted to be a national championship contender. I'm just saying, you got a lot of questions that you got to figure out, and there's a reason you're thinking about getting a quarterback in the portal. That's all I'm saying. Let it be. Isn't that a song? Let it be.
Isn't that a Beatles song?
Yeah, of course it is. Go.
Yeah.
Next.
Oh. Sorry. Josh in Liberty Hill said, I am right with you on the prove it stance this year. I do think Jimbo is on the hot seat in a way. What record would the Aggies need to get for him to get off the hot seat or on the other side?
I don't know. You're on the hot seat if you don't win. look at some of the predecessors, right? Like who've been here before. Just give me. I don't want. When I say get me 9 wins, that sounds like I'm going to be happy with 9 wins. 9 wins is my start, with a chance to win 10 in a bowl game. That's my start of the conversation. Doesn't mean I'm elated about it, right? Because a year ago today, next year Nuño made his first appearance. I don't know if it was today. And I was like, but next year, in 2022, and all those guys are coming back in a second year of Connor Wigman. Well, that's when I thought they were going to win 9 or 10 games last year. Wrong. Kennedy?
We have PG Ag in King Oaks. They said, sorry, David, national writers will never go against Nick. But you are correct. The number one predictor of success at every level of college football is QB play.
I'm not trying to be Homer.com guy, right? I'm not. Like, I like the quarterback room here. I like the wide receiver room. There's a lot of... can you score more than 22.5 points per game? Can you? If you do that, and it's not about, like, it's got to be more than that. Like, I would love to see 36 points per game with an awesome defense, because then you are a 10-2 team. I really would love to see that. But, yeah. Hey, Kennedy, I think...
Hey, David.
I think you have a fun weekend
I
planned. Do you want to let us know what you have planned for this week?
You're going.
Oh, no. We're out of time.
Dang it, guys.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Guess we'll have to do it the next segment.
Oh, God. I know you wanted to tell the world that you were going to go to the...
Taylor Swift.
No.
Oh.
Fade the black. Bye.
Every Friday, noon till 1, we go inside the pit on the Louis Bellina Show with barbecue pit master, the Smokin' Aces competition team, Bryce Jones. Inside the Pit, brought to you by Dixie Tire Company. Family owned, serving the BCS for over 35 years. You need tires for your truck, car, tractor, trailer, lawnmower, even your wheelbarrow. It's Dixie Tire Company. Join me, Louis Bellina, and Bryce Jones inside the pit Fridays, noon till 1.
Protect your computers, tablets, and smartphones from hackers by looking for secure internet addresses that begin with HTTPS. It is an indication they are protected by a secure encrypted connection. Only encrypted websites can help secure your internet communications and act as your first line of defense against hackers. A public service message from the Consumer Electronics Association.
Questions, comments, or opinions about anything and everything and all things The Zone. Send your emails to Louie at BrianBroadcasting.com. That's Louie at BrianBroadcasting.com. This is KZNE College Station, Brian.
From WTAW, this is a news update on The Zone. Current and future economic development prospects in West Bryan discussed at this week's City Council workshop. Mayor Bobby Gutierrez supported putting in the city's capital improvements plan, improvements to Mumford Road north of Harvey Mitchell Parkway.
We just announced Certainty, the new development over there. We've got 4 other potential things that we're going to probably be announcing very soon. We're looking at potentially 1,000 people working out there, potentially 1,200.
The council is told staff has applied for a grant that, if approved, would cover part of the $8 million cost. Madison County Sheriff's Office investigating the deaths and mutilation of cattle along OSR Highway. Facebook post from the Madison County Sheriff's Office also says 5 similar cases along OSR running into Brazos and Robertson counties. Anyone with information asked to contact the Madison County Sheriff's Office. Bryan Police providing to WTAW News new information about an incident that took place Monday at Bryan High School. BHS student not arrested and taken to juvenile detention on the charge of punching another student. BPD spokesman says an officer submitted his report to prosecutors who will determine if an arrest warrant will be issued against the juvenile-age student. A woman from Maryland who spent some time in the Brazos County Jail Wednesday returned yesterday. The woman initially arrested at Eastwood Airport after a Texas A&M police officer said she slapped him in the face. According to the arrest report, that was after TSA asked the woman to leave after she became emotional because she did not agree with the way she was being searched. She returned to jail yesterday after going back to the airport in violation of a criminal trespassing order. Jail record shows she was released for the second time this morning. A reminder, Texas A&M's muster ceremony starts tonight at 7 at Reed Arena. Doors open at 5. Muster's worldwide roll call for the absent and the Reed Arena program will be streamed at musterlive.aggienetwork.com. More news in English and Spanish is at WTAW.com. That's a news update on the Zone.
Maroon U is your ultimate stop for brand name apparel, gifts, and accessories for the entire family. From Columbia, 47 brand, Yeti, Dooney & Burke, and Adidas, we're able to outfit you for every occasion. Visit Maroon U and our family of companies on Holloman Drive in College Station to shop the latest in brand name Aggie merchandise. Shop Maroon U today, voted best in the Brazos' best gift shop since 2016. Maroon never looked so good with Maroon U.
At ASCO, we're on it, and Case IH Farmall tractors are on it too. For over 8 decades, America's farmers have counted on the little red tractor from Case IH, the Farmall, to help them make short work of their demanding chores. With horsepower ranging from 30 to 105, plus an army of attachments, you can tackle every chore on your to-do list, from hauling and mowing to loading and baling, and then some. Visit ASCO Equipment in Bryan to find a Case IH Farmall that's right for you. At ASCO, we're on it.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Sean Burnett with your Aggie Sports Minute on the Zone. This update is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click hillcosupply.com. Aggie baseball has won its last 3 SEC series and will have its hands full this weekend as the team heads to number 13 Kentucky for a 3-game series. Coach Schlossnagle spoke with the media yesterday and talked about what Kentucky brings to the table.
Wow, what a explosive offense, strike-throwing pitching staff, experienced team, a lot of older players. Going on the turf, going in some different weather. So what a big challenge and great opportunity.
Game 1 of the series has been moved up due to inclement weather. First pitch will be at 3 p.m. You can listen to the series all weekend long on the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Up next for number 24 softball is Ole Miss on the road for a 3-game series. Game 1 will begin tonight at 5 o'clock. You can hear that game on Gospel 97.3. The Texas A&M men's golf team finished yesterday's second round at the SEC Championships tied with Alabama for the top spot at 12 under. Today is the final round of stroke play, and the team is 13 strokes clear of advancing to the 8-team single elimination match play bracket, which starts tomorrow. The number 21 Texas A&M men's tennis team survived a second-round thriller versus Vanderbilt to earn a 4-3 victory and advance to the quarterfinals of the SEC tournament last night. Up next, the guys will face South Carolina at 6 o'clock tonight. And that's your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On the Zone, I'm Sean Burnett. On Sports Talk, Chip visits with author Jeff Gwynn on the 30th anniversary of the Branch Davidian fire in Waco.
The thing about Waco is that because so many terrible mistakes were made, and they were terrible mistakes, and the people who made them should have been brought to, I think, greater account, even though their professional careers were curtailed. It was horrible. It didn't need to happen.
Sports Talk, not your normal show. Weekdays from 4 to 6 on The Zone.
And we're back. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It's the baseball bunch. Scott Clendenin, hello.
Good morning to you, sir.
Richard Zane.
Howdy.
Greetings.
Richard's back.
Ryan Broniger.
How you feel, Richard?
I'm good.
Do you want to go into all the details of what was going on, or would you rather keep that private?
I mean,
it was pretty gnarly.
It was pretty gross. I mean, yeah. I had an infected cyst that had to be had to get an incision.
I asked. He didn't have to say it.
Some nasty stuff drained from my body.
We heard the cattle mutilation story on OSR in the news. Okay, we don't need to.
I didn't hear that.
What?
Okay.
Wait, what? No, we ain't got time.
Hey,
during the break,
it is the baseball bunch, and there's a baseball comment in this little message I want to read out loud. It's more about football, but we can make it kind of a discussion about baseball.
Are you going to be mad about it?
Probably. This is what I do. Half the time I'm actually having fun. It's C. Rogers on the YouTube chat. David, you get upset with listeners when they doubt you, and the same with Billy. But you were wrong about the 22 football team, wrong about baseball, and the listener's correct when the Aggies last won anything important. Okay.
All right.
Did you hear my commentary earlier?
No.
All right. It was about, I think A&M has less questions today than Bama does today, football-wise. That's it. Like,
I would disagree with that, but
okay,
you can make that statement. You're the host of the radio show.
Offensively, I think A&M, there's a reason Bama's looking for Tyler Van Dyke. It's just an opinion. Like, I think Bama's going to be fine. They're always fine. They're always a 10 and 11 win team. I'm just saying today I have less questions about A&M. But about the baseball team, I think the National Writers had them as a top 5 team in the season.
Well, everybody did.
Yeah, and I think the football team, the National Writers, had them as the number 6 team in the
country. So you're
country.
upset with this guy's calling you out, not everybody else out, or how?
No. I'm just making a comment. Like,
they were both number 5.
They were both number 5.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure. When it comes to baseball, though, I don't think maybe you guys made a prediction. I don't remember making a prediction, but the problem has been the pitching this year, and the offense has picked up. Since what, the last 5 weeks?
Since SEC play started.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Since the schemes start against them, the offense has been at a level that is very comparable to last year in total, not game to game, but in total, they've given themselves an opportunity to be in game after game after game, and that's what being good in 2/3 of your program can do to you.
Could you imagine if we would have said on this radio show prior to the baseball season when everybody had them as a preseason top 5, top 10 team and said, they're not going to be any good. and so is that what he wanted us to say? Because if we would have said that at that time in February, that, hey, this team's not going to be, they're really going to struggle on the mound. They're going to drop a series to a non-conference team at home that's well under their level of play. If we'd have said all that stuff in the beginning of the season, what kind of backlash would we have gotten right then?
I think you shouldn't get backlash for an opinion, regardless of what it
right,
is.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
though.
yeah, but 100% you would.
So
if you're wrong, you're wrong.
Right.
Yeah,
and we don't know that we were wrong yet.
Yes.
We're halfway through SEC play. Now, looking at these next 3 weeks, particularly this weekend, I think this is one of the bigger weekends of the year for this ball club. This one right here starting today at 3 o'clock against Kentucky. There is a lot on the line when you look at where A&M is positioned in the SEC standings right now, what's coming with series against Arkansas and Florida, what everybody else has out there to play. There's going to be some big-time shuffling, Scotty, over the next 3 weeks in this conference.
And I also think that each series is its own individual animal. And that is how you have to play it. You have to play innings, games, series. That's what this team did so well last year. They compartmentalized each thing that they needed to do, and it led to winning series after series. That's not going to happen this year. But they are still only one spot behind where they were last year, when last year, earlier in the year, we thought the end of the season was going to be harder than the beginning of the season was. We do not know what Florida is going to be after they've played South Carolina and after whoever they play next week. We don't know what Arkansas is going to be after they get done playing Georgia this week after they've already lost one game. Both those teams have already lost one game to teams A&M doesn't play. So you have got to compartmentalize this and know that they are one game behind where they were, with the opportunity, if they go out and win series, to get a very similar record and a similar position to where they were last year going into the SEC tournament.
And we're saying the same stuff that we were saying at this time last year. The offense is coming around. The pitching is not sustainable to win baseball games with the way they're pitching. Now, I went back and looked at the Mizzou series. You pitch the way you did game 1 and 2, that's sustainable.
Yes.
If you're going to go with an opener and he can get you one time through the order into the 3rd inning and then you hand the ball to Aschenbeck, that is one of this team's best recipes to win.
That's their best game of the year.
Right. And that was the best pitch game of the year.
Yes.
Because Evan Aschenbeck ate up 5 innings of it, and you only played 7. So this team, to get into 7-inning games, this is not a team you want to see in a 7-inning game, because the offense is really good and the pitching has been really struggling. You want as many opportunities to bat against this pitching staff.
That's what I said
and
about
have them make decisions late in games of who they're going to go to. But it's the same thing we said last year. They may prove us all wrong again. It's not a sustainable way. And if it is, they'll be the first team in maybe baseball history in back-to-back years where the pitching staff, they haven't had a win by a starting pitcher in over a month.
They did have wins by starting pitching last year because before the blister, Detmer was winning games.
Right, but I'm talking about right now.
But games 2 and 3 of series last year, they weren't getting wins from starting pitching because Michael was having the struggles, and then it was all staff on some of those weekends to win game 3. They were really good in game 3 last year. Now, you are here this week, so you have to talk.
Honestly, I don't even know if I can add anything to this topic. Both these guys have used every single word in the English language, so there aren't any more for me to use.
Wow.
What is he's in a weird mood today. He's in a weird mood.
It's been a weird mood.
They summed it up perfectly. I agree. 100%.
That would have been a much nicer way to say it.
Yes,
you guys did a great job.
Time out. But the time that I did that in Omaha with Dalton is still talked about.
What did you say?
When I said I agree with Brawny with my sunglasses on.
I would say, too, that there's reasons for hope with this team, much like there was reasons for hope for with last year's team. Obviously, the offense going in the right direction. I still believe, Jim Schlossnagle still believes they're going to get a better version at the plate of Austin Boast.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing exceptional defense. They're fielding at 982. Really, the only series of the year where you thought the defense struggled was the outfield defense in Florida, right? You had the insane win play by Jordan Thompson. You had a play by Caden Kent, who's not a traditional left fielder. When you make errors in the outfield, they typically don't just result in one base, right? So I thought that was the only series this year where the defense just wasn't as good as it has been. But they're fielding at a 982 clip. That's one of the best in the country, one of the best. I think it's the second best in the SEC right now.
Yeah, behind Vandy.
Yeah, who plays on artificial turf. And they're really good too. But so there's reasons to be, and their stolen base percentage is crazy high. Crazy high. So not only is your offense going better, but you're also getting yourself in more run-producing situations from stealing these bases at such a high rate. There's a lot of metrics when you look at this A&M team that make you believe, except for the most important metric in the game of baseball, which is starting pitching and pitching in general.
Well, which kind of is the comparison to football. Like, if you get good blocking and good offensive line play, you win games. If you get good starting pitching, this offense has proven that they can take it. But how do we feel about what we've seen from Nathan Detmer? Let's just call it the last 3 starts.
Very uneasy about the entire pitching staff, not just Nathan Detmer. I don't want to single him out. I saw something this week that somebody predicted that this team is only going to go as far as its starting pitching allows it to go. I don't know if I can agree with that because we saw, as these two guys pointed out, last year they went to Omaha in spite of their starting pitching.
I would still predict that, though.
But
like the history of the game of baseball says.
Yes, sure, but if you don't even know who your starting pitchers are gonna be for 2 to 3 games out of a weekend, how can you say that you're gonna go as far as your starting pitching? Well, especially if you're gonna go to different strategies like using an opener, stuff like that. It's going to come down to pitching, sure.
I think if the starting pitching is going to get on track, here are 2 names that I think have to do it, or that are going. If the pitching in the back half of the SEC slate completely turns around. Here's where I think it'll happen. I think it's Troy Wansing, and I think it's Justin Lampkin.
Mm-hmm. Wansing was a name that Schloss mentioned yesterday at his press conference as a guy who had a pretty good bullpen or sim game earlier this week.
The stuff, their composure, they got to get in the strike zone, but we've seen them be the best a good version of themselves is plenty good enough to pitch in this league.
And I think we're going to see it again this week against Kentucky. Some teams are pitching their best pitchers in Game 3 because they saw how A&M's offense is going. And in Game 3, when teams are depleted, I've got to have somebody in there or A&M's offense will let a game get away pretty quickly. That's what happened last year. Okay, and then A&M was like, well, can we score 9 and hold you to 8? And in a lot of Game 3 last year, and then they ended up holding them to 5 or a 3, and those scores were kind of spread out in Game 3. This week, they're going to pitch backwards again. Last week, Missouri tried to steal a series by, okay, what can we do in Game 2, and we're going to give it to our dude in Game 3. The problem was A&M had their most complete game of the season in Game 2, so now they're sitting there in Game 3 with their best starter going, we're already, in a bad situation. Now, Missouri had done that a lot this year. They have won and played a lot of close Game 3s all season long. So that's kind of been how they've done it. I'm looking at Kentucky this week and how they're setting up their pitching staff. They're trying to do some of the same thing. But their offense is more explosive, so, their numbers have led to their bullpen being a big key for them. And that's what A&M has to match this week.
Could you guys see a scenario where Schloss does that same kind of strategy where he's pitching? No.
Nope, not until you these other schools are switching their order because they know the guys that they've got. I mean, Nathan Detmer has been the only consistent starter for A&M, but his performances have not been consistent. So you're going to roll an inconsistent guy out there on Sunday when something's on the line? I mean, you really don't have – I guess if you're – the counter argument to that is like we don't have a better option. But I think keeping Nathan on his rest, keeping him – and he came into the year with the billing of a frontline SEC starter. I think a demotion off of that when it hasn't been warranted for anybody to take his spot behind him. Regardless, you can say we're trying to play matchup, this X, Y, Z. I think for the kid, you keep him in the first spot, and I think there's some level of comfortability amongst the team with him there.
Yep. Absolutely. I keep Nathan Detmer there, and we've seen flashes of it. Well, and if he finds it,
he's close. He's been close.
Yes,
he's been close. He made some. He was not close with the strike zone, with fastball command, which is really weird. He's usually the fastball command's usually there. It's usually the secondary stuff that really lets him down in terms of control. But last week we saw him make some really big pitches early in that start. I think bases loaded. I think it was a 2-2 count in the second inning. Threw one of his best changeups of the year to get out of the inning. So he's been close. He was close against Auburn. He was close-ish against Mizzou. Like, is the best version of him where he had that SEC, two-time SEC pitcher of the week deal last year, is that coming? If it is, you feel a lot better about A&M not only in this series but in the next three.
Yep.
God, I do want to make sure that we illustrate that some people think that this is who you are at this point of the season, but I will bring up some examples. We have seen, first off, Trevor Warner, the tear he's been on recently. Wade Taylor in basketball, the player that he was towards the middle stretch of the basketball season, towards the end, was a different player. You can evolve in that same season, and we saw it with this team last year.
Who won the national championship in baseball last year?
Ole Miss.
Where were they at this point last year?
They were not good.
They
were 8 games under 500.
They were 8 games under?
8 games under.
That much. Wow.
In the league or overall?
In the league.
Okay. Wow.
So they were the last team probably to get in, team 64 out of 64, and they won it because they had the talent to do it, and it's all about when you get hot and what kind of ball you're playing at the end of the season.
Because they had played great ball until they played A&M. They thought they were in a position. That's why they ended up 14-16, because they had been playing great ball, and then A&M spanks them, and then they go one and done at the SEC tournament, and everybody said, well, now let's look at the metrics or RPI and all that kind of stuff. But the talent that made them a preseason top 3 team and an eventual number 1 team during the early part of the season was still there. But that's one of those teams last year that everybody said at the end of the year, well, you got to play Ole Miss there.
How many teams in college baseball can win a national championship this year? Can you look at everything, their roster? I would say 12 out of the 12 teams in the SEC could win it.
You think 12 can?
I think the only 2 that couldn't are probably Georgia. They're not deep enough. And at this point, Mississippi State, but they just won a series against Ole Miss, and I think Ole Miss could win it.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
So 15 or 13.
Isn't Tennessee in the same position Ole Miss was basically last year?
But if Tennessee got into the postseason, they're playing bad baseball right now.
Can you imagine them a 2 or 3 seed? That would be terrible.
It's a team you don't want to see.
Right.
Yes.
They could win the national championship.
No team hosting outside the top 4 teams in the country that aren't in the SEC wants to see an SEC team come to their regional.
Yep.
And no team that's hosting wants to see a super regional potential matchup where one of those SEC teams is a 2 seed on the other side, especially if there's some history or some rivalry there. Florida State doesn't want to sit there and see Florida as a 2 seed and Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
About that one.
No, I'm just saying, for example, has a 2 seed in Hattiesburg, Mississippi that, hey, they win that regional and they come to Tallahassee for a super. They don't want to see that because they understand that they understand that Florida has played teams and beat teams as good as Florida State, whatever top seed you are, all year long. That's why the SEC has teams make runs that are not top national seeds.
All right, we got to hit a break here. If you guys want to ask the baseball bunch any questions, you can do that on the A&B text line, 979-693-1150. Dermdock on the text line says, on our way to Lexington, beat the hell out of Kentucky, so he'll be out there cheering on the Aggies. We'll hit a break. We'll have more from the baseball bunch.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. Arts Council scholarship applications are now open. Requirements and more information is online at acbv.org/scholarships. The Brazos County A&M Club is hosting an off-campus muster event at Legends Event Center this Friday at 7 p.m. Tickets can be purchased online at bcamc.org. The Brazos Valley Astronomy Club meets this Friday evening at 7:30 at the Physics Teaching Observatory Classroom. Dr. Timothy Logan will speak about lightning flash rates and flooding events. Visit BrazosValleyAstronomyClub.org for more information. The Bush Library and Museum is celebrating its 25th anniversary this Saturday. Join them from 5 to 9 p.m. for a community-wide celebration. Your home for Aggie baseball is The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Your home for Aggie softball is Gospel, 97.3 FM. Listen to both at radioaggieland.com. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
College Station Monument would like to salute everyone who is helping serve our great country. To the men and women who have helped to uphold and strengthen all that is guaranteed to us through the Constitution. Our thoughts and prayers are with you as you defend our freedom. This message is from College Station Monument, located in Aggieland Business Park, 8412 Parameter. Stop in and see their showroom. Visit their website, collegestationmonument.com, or give Jose a call at 979-422-2357. College Station Monument, wishing everyone a safe and happy spring season.
To succeed in sports, athletes must do the little things to get better every day. The same applies in business. Howdy, I'm Stephanie Gomez, Treasury Management Officer from Veribank. We understand the impact of mastering the little things. We pay attention to detail to find the right product or service for your business, like tech tools to manage your cash and payments or financing options for expansion. At Veribank, we believe in better business banking every day. Visit us at veribank.com today. That's VERAbank.com.
Veribank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
It's not every day you can save money. Oh, wait, you can. Hi, Jenny here from Big Deals. When you shop Big Deals, you'll save money every day on dozens of gift certificates from local businesses like these.
Rocks, Discount Vitamins and more, Power Sports, MG Studio Beauty and Barber, and Aero S Pest Control. Visit AggielandBigDeals.com to save big. AggielandBigDeals.com.
It's Larry from Shelby, previously on the Paul Feinbaum Show.
That makes Quinn Ewers looks better this year if he got a haircut. That's it. He's the same Quinn Ewers. He's the same guy, man. It ain't no different. You know, it's like me and you get a haircut. We look a lot better. I mean, I love your haircut. And anyway, as we go on, Paul.
It's the Paul Feinbaum Show, powered by Polaris Fun Center, 2 to 4 weekdays on the Zone.
So for some reason, Nick, and I think you may have agreed, maybe it was Bronny, I don't know. They want more heavy metal, headbanger music. Who requested that?
Not me.
No?
Not me, but I mean, Nick, whatever.
That was me.
Happy,
but somebody else was like, I want more of that.
Somebody texted in, yeah.
What keeps the aliens away?
Some more cowbell?
No, well, they don't allow them at
I get the chip.
The Golden State game. All right, it's TexAgs Radio, baseball bunch here.
Oyster Cult.
We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Got a couple text messages coming in. I do want to read this one from Tayag and Taylor. I get Oshimbeck's value out of the pen, but if we were to get one quality start on the weekend and keep Detmer as the other, are we not in better shape?
No.
I'm gonna let it just sit.
Just let it marinate.
Just want more info.
Okay.
I like the opener. Okay, I like them setting the lineup with the right-hander to pitch off of. You know, they've got a plan that worked very well because the opener did his job. If the opener had done his job in Game 3, the plan would have had more chance to succeed. But you have to have the opener go out and do their limited one time through the lineup job. And when that succeeds, it's going to open the door for whoever follows, Aschenbeck, whoever another guy would be, to have that success.
Brandon Garcia is a name that's going to get mentioned a lot more down the stretch here, I think, because I don't want Aschenbeck starting because I want the possibility going into every weekend that he could affect 2 games, multiple games. If you start him, that's it. He's going to affect 1 game. Now, last week he affected 1 game, but it was the kind of the perfect storm. You win game 1, offense pulls away, you don't have to use him. Now I got him in a game 2 situation where if I've got the lead, or I'm going to do the opener thing, I can hand him the ball and he can go for a while, and we had a chance to win the series on Saturday or in game 2. There's huge value in him using him once a weekend in that role. But I want to go into every weekend with the chance that Evan Aschenbeck could pitch in 2 games.
Same argument could be made last year for Palish moving into the rotation, right? But, I mean, you don't get to Omaha, you don't go on that deep run without him affecting multiple games on multiple weekends.
Yep.
And some weekends he only affected 1 game. It's that's where I was talking about their ability to compartmentalize. It was like in that game, okay, hey, Aschenbeck's going good. What's his pitch count at? It's a 6th inning. We don't have the run rule in effect yet. Do I need to get the pin up and warm some of those guys up? No. They had their guy out there doing what he needed to do, and then they got the run rule. And you look at Sunday, the opportunity to have a good Sunday with everything. You had everybody you wanted to have available on Sunday. Aschenbeck actually affected Game 3 because of how good he was in Game 2. It's just he wasn't on the mound to have an effect. And, you know, it's not traditional baseball. I know Coach Schloss is a traditional baseball guy. When he has a season where he's got 3 established starters and Tuesdays are when people are going to move themselves up and down the ladder, that's coming, then they're not going to be a team that's always looking to have an opener. But this season, a little like what they had last season, doesn't give you that opportunity. So they have got to, you know, TBD, look and see what Kentucky does. That's the other thing. They're not getting locked in on what Kentucky does or doesn't do until they put their eyeballs on them. Even with all the scouting and all the stuff they have, all the metrics, you got some guys over there that want to see. I want to see what they do when I throw them a changeup in this situation, not just what I saw on video.
Scotty, give me a little history lesson here if you can even remember. The last 3 wins A&M's had, they've had the 10-inning run in inning, excuse me. Is that something we have seen successively in years past where like this offensive explosion to that level in an inning? Have you seen that recently over the last few years or not?
I mean, they had times last year where they had those kind of innings. But I think when the bats changed, when they went to the BB Core, it kind of took that out. I mean, you had a lot of that before the BB Core bats. But I think that you saw last year against South Carolina. I mean, they scored against Texas. You had innings that were big innings against teams that it wasn't just like you were playing a team that you're overwhelming because it's a Tuesday. I'm talking about a weekend type level of talent. You know, they're swinging it with some confidence, and I think that's what this team needed to work towards. And since Minnick's return, they swing with confidence.
Yeah, to go back real quick, one pitching point I want to make is we may have found this year's version of Polish and Aschenbeck. Who's going to be this year's Moo Menifee? Mm-hmm. Because people will always talk about the role that Polish played down the stretch last year, but when Polish couldn't go, the ball was being handed to Moo. And it was, especially toward the back half of the year, he was locked down. I mean,
because the first half he had struggled.
Right.
So there's your thing about somebody, a prime example of somebody that got better. And when it got better last year, Moo was spectacular.
Brian, can you just touch on the offense? How demoralizing is it for a team that thinks they got it and you put up a 9 spot?
Yeah, I mean, it's more confidence in your dugout than it is demoralizing for the other team because the other team's going, okay, like their pitching staff has struggled. We can get back in this game. But it's more of a confidence builder for your own dugout than I think it would be demoralizing for another team. The pitching determines I would guess, determines the vibe of the game, right? If you got a guy out there on the mound and he is just mowing guys down, there is a lot more confidence in the dugout about the outcome of the game. Offensively, as a group, though, it's actually kind of funny. My last year at McNeese, we set the school record for average. I think it still stands today. We had, I think, 14 or 15 games where we scored 9 runs and lost. So we understand. I kind of get where this thing is, and it's like, okay, you can't control that part of it. If I'm a hitter, I can't control what happens on the mound. I've got to go and just good at bats, hand a good at bat to the next guy, and it turns into big offensive innings. Again, like I don't want to just. We are, to a certain extent, we are just railing on the pitching. But it's got to get better. Like, if all things stay the same throughout the remainder of the year, you're going to sweat out every series. Number one, it's because it's the SEC, and that's what you do. Number two, because you just don't know what you're going to get the next half inning when you go on defense.
Yep.
And it has nothing to do – if they go out this weekend and the pitching gives up a bunch of runs because they're getting beat around, whatever. But if you're going to continuously walk guys or hit guys and put guys on first base for free, there's where the biggest issue is.
All right, let's hit a break. We'll come back with more. It's TexAgs Radio.
We are going. Are you ready? The Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM, where nothing is impossible. On the Zone.
It's time. Here we go! Let's go! Let's go!
Did you know that paint, pesticides, automotive fluids, medication, home cleaning agents, and electronics are considered household hazardous waste, also known as HHW? Improper disposal of HHW can include pouring them down the drain, on the ground, or in some cases, putting them out with your regular garbage. Items with labels that include warning, danger, corrosive, irritant, toxic, caution, or flammable are typically considered HHW. If you have HHW in your home ready for disposal, the Twin Oaks landfill, along with the cities of Bryan and College Station, will host a household hazardous waste collection event Saturday, April 22nd, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the University Services Building on Harvey Road, next to Veterans Park and College Station. Brazos Valley residents can bring household batteries, paints, chemicals, electronics, and old medications for safe disposal at this free rain or shine collection event. Visit twinoakshhw.com for details.
First Financial Bank thanks the Brazos Valley for our continued success and growth. Come and celebrate the opening of our newest location at 2445 Harvey Mitchell Parkway in College Station. We're offering a special cash promotion for opening either a WOW checking account or a new savings account. Visit with our local banker at any of our locations for details. We have everything you need to manage your finances through our mobile app, online banking, and growing locations. Don't wait. Visit First Financial Bank today and experience how we put you first. Terms and conditions may apply. Approval required for all new accounts. First Financial Bank. Member FDIC.
Property tax statements. We all receive them, but at times we need an expert to help appeal our assessment. At Paramount's Property Tax Consultants in College Station, we specialize in appealing property taxes, saving property owners over $1 million in taxes last year. Whether it's your residence, investment property, or commercial property, to reduce your property taxes, trust Property Tax Consultants, 35 years of experience to deliver. Visit PropertyTaxConsulting.com for your free consultation today.
At ASCO Equipment, we don't have offices. We have service and support centers because we're in business to do two things: serve and support our customers and do it better than anybody else. It's why we're on it with boots on the ground, not on the desk. We're on it with Case Construction Equipment. Together, we're hardworking partners who are willing to get their hands dirty to help you win. Case Equipment is practical and intuitive. Hardcore, versatile machines we're proud to serve and support. At ASCO, we're on it. In Bryan at 1976 North Earl Rudder Freeway.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max. Bryce Young, he's been this size his whole life. His whole life, all he's been told about is, oh, you're a little bit on the smaller side. But this dude has found ways to maneuver, to get out of the pocket, and he has incredible accuracy. I do think the right fit would help, but I do see him getting a second contract and being a franchise quarterback.
I think Bryce Young will be excellent.
Listen in to Key, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor from 5 to 8 on the Zone.
All upon my got no direction. We're all playing the same game. We're all looking for redemption. Just afraid to say the name.
Saludos, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. I saw your face.
Saludemos.
Hola, ¿cómo estás, Brony?
I wish your Spanish broadcasting voice was more like fake. Because I feel like all those guys that I listen to when the soccer stuff, it's like big.
Hola, estamos aquí con TexAgs Radio y Ryan Broniger y Ricardo Sané, Scott Clendenin. You're the only one left.
Richard's TikToking or something.
I'm not TikToking. I'm never TikToking. They know in the back that if they send me a TikTok link, I'm not opening it.
Have you ever been on TikTok?
I don't trust China.
I haven't either.
Why'd you say it like that?
I don't know.
Were you impersonating somebody there?
No.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Back to the business at hand.
China.
We are at the midway point of SEC play. Considering what the schedule was to start, like, put it this way. I know we expected them to be better than they are, but are they that much off what you expected considering what they had the first half of the season?
I think record-wise, they're closer maybe. I think stylistically, when you watch the first half of the season, that was the most startling thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody expect them to play that way. After watching them in the fall and the spring build-up, I certainly did not expect them to play like that in the first month of the season. Like, could not have been more wrong. And there was no way, to go back to the guy that texted in that you got so fired up about to start this segment, to start this hour, there was no way anybody could have gone out there and watched them practice in the fall or in the early spring and said, oh, yeah, this team's going to struggle offensively. No way.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way you could have said that.
Yeah, that's
As a matter of fact, Kendall Rogers, who runs the most reputable college baseball website in the country, he picked Texas A&M to be in his national championship series after watching them in the fall. So if you want to get on us about being wrong about this team, okay. I've watched more I've forgotten more about baseball than that guy knows, right? I watched in the fall and in the spring. I've got no reason to inflate anything. Everybody else around the country watched in the fall and the spring. All the national baseball analysts came up with a similar prognostication for this season. And so nobody saw the first part of the season coming. Offensively, this is about what I thought it would be. When they've got the potential to score double-digit runs each time they go out there, that's what I thought it would be. Like an offense that can take over a series, can take over a game, and win it regardless of the pitching and defense, and the offense can do it. So I think they're closer. They're closer right now to where we thought they were going to be in the preseason than they have at any other point leading up to now.
And to that point, nobody can predict Brett Minnick going down first at bat of the year. Nobody can predict the struggles that Trevor Warner had injury-wise and with the illness as well. So, I mean, they're coming around. They've got those guys back, and I still think, and Coach Schlossnagle has said it time and time again, they're still going to get a better version of Austin Bowe some point this season. The offense is going to I think is going to continue rolling. It's just whether or not pitching staff finds a way to become consistent.
Show me the analyst that had Ole Miss with 12 losses in SEC play. Show me the analyst that had Tennessee with 10 losses in SEC play.
Show me the analyst that had LSU with 5 losses in SEC play.
Yeah.
I would have, yeah.
I've already come to the point and discussed with some people. LSU's not going to be the number one overall seed. They can be the number one team in the polls the rest of the year. They're not going to. The NCAA is not going to make them the number one team when the real tournament gets set out. But I look.
They've got big questions for sure.
Yeah, they all do.
By the way, the team that A&M's getting ready to go play today,
almost
won that series in Baton Rouge. So if you're looking at Kentucky and you're thinking, oh, Kentucky baseball hasn't been a traditional baseball power, A&M has had some success there in the past. You better flip that thinking quickly. This is a really talented, really old, really experienced Kentucky team that, coming off the back of last season where they felt slighted that they didn't get into the tournament after their run in Hoover, they came into the season with a chip on their shoulder, and they're playing at an extremely high level. They have a brand of baseball that's a little bit different than everybody else in the conference, whereas everybody else is going to kind of the slugging percentage, doubles, RBIs, homers kind of thing. Kentucky's a little bit old school. They'll get on base, they'll bunt, they'll use the bunt to drive in runs, they'll use the bunt for base hits, they'll bunt with 2 outs, they're going to try to run behind it. So they're going to make you be aware defensively, and they're going to make you play catch defensively. So this is a little bit different than what A&M has gone up against up to this point in the SEC in terms of opposing offenses. So this is going to be – I think this is a huge series. You don't ever say go win a series on the road. If you do, this would make a lot of noise in the SEC, I think, because I think Kentucky is that highly respected around the league.
And they've won series they could have lost. They've lost series that they could have won. They're like SEC teams. They have had the opportunity, and they've won games that they needed to win. The difference is they have been nearly unbeatable at home.
Yep.
So in that ballpark, they're going to carry a level of confidence that you've got to overcome if you're Texas A&M.
And I think the jury was out on Kentucky until last weekend. I think everybody was kind of, okay, what are they? They hadn't really played anybody. Their schedule was extremely weak going into that LSU series, and they dang near pulled it off in Baton Rouge.
So this weekend and next, does that kind of change the trajectory of the season? We will know.
No, these next 3 weekends are going to determine what happens with this team if there is a postseason, and if there is, what level, like where are they going in as? We're going to have a really good idea after these next 3 weekends.
Because look at after this weekend, Kentucky has at Vanderbilt, South Carolina, at Tennessee, and Florida. The second half of their season is loaded for bear.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this league does. They looked at the beginning of their season and said, okay, but they played Missouri when Missouri was playing a lot better and swept them at home and had 1 game that was an extra inning games and then 2 run rules. That's just how the SEC is. And that's how you have got to go and play each game individually and the series individually. And you can't have that. Kentucky cannot look at A&M and say, well, okay, they're in 3rd in the West, but look who we have after that. That sets them up for the fall. But their season is determined by how they play this week and the weeks to come. So I just think that, this season is like every SEC season there is.
I think we're going to learn a lot about this team, especially if they have to deal with weather, wind and cold, I think, in Lexington for the next couple of days after today. That front that moved through here last night, I think, is supposed to go through there later on tonight. That's why they moved the start time up. But going to a place where the home team is 19-1 on the season, they're playing with a ton of confidence. They're a little pissed about leaving Baton Rouge without a series win. And they're going to play the game with their brand of baseball. So this is an enormous challenge, an enormous test for this A&M team this weekend.
Richard?
Yes, agreed.
Caden Kent. He came in. He was.
Thank you for bringing that up. I'm going to cut you off because Nick popped the graphic of Jace up whenever we were talking earlier. Keep an eye on that. I know Schloss said he was giving Jace the night off and Caden needed the at-bats, and certainly he took advantage of them. Caden is a super talented player. Butch Gutzman, who we all know, has sat on this desk with some of our baseball analyst stuff last year when they went to the World Series. Butch is a big believer in baseball blood. When you got the blood flowing in you, it allows you to do things that maybe other guys can't. Obviously, Caden Kent's got baseball blood, flowing through his veins. If you're going to bet on a tool, if all things are equal, bet on the guy that's got the blood running through him, and Caden's got that. But it's going to be interesting to see, was that a night off for Jace, or was he hobbled by something? I don't know that, right? But it was a late scratch, I believe, on Wednesday night against Prairie View to put Caden in the lineup. So it may have been something precautionary. Hey, Jace just didn't, he had a knee thing that happened really, really early in spring practice. kept him out a few days. Just something precautionary. That could have been the reason why they scratched him from the lineup. But I'm super happy that Caden played well in his stead the other night because Caden needed that. I think that's good for the team and gives you a real option off the bench on the back half of the year. But Jace Lavalette, make no mistake, Jace Lavalette is an enormous part of this team's offensive production. Since SEC play has started, since he's changed his mechanics and his swing, since he's cut out a bunch of the movement, not only is he driving in runs at a really high rate, he's also stealing bases. He leads the team in stolen bases. So when you talk about A, producing runs, or B, putting your team in position to produce runs, Jace has been as good as anybody else on the roster.
I don't have the number in front of me, but I believe the freshman record for home runs was like 18 for A&M. I believe it's about that. Scott, you may remember better than
I think it's Terry Taylor, and it's about 17, 18. It's in that mark right there.
Well, Jace could get to 18, and so he's at 10 right now. He could get to 18 and 8 at bats. Like, that's the kind of talent we're talking about. Whether he does it or not, well, you just got to let that play out and see. But if you're asking me, could Jace get there? Absolutely he could. Jace could set every offensive record this school's ever seen. That's the kind of talent that he is. It's hard to bet on that kind of stuff in baseball. But legitimately, Scotty, you've seen a lot more of this than I have. In terms of raw baseball talent, there's not been many freshmen come through this program that's got it like Jace has got it.
No, and I think that, I know that, and we talked about it with, there have been a couple other guys on individual teams, but the freshman crop in this class, with what Petrie's doing in South Carolina, huge double last night for them to run rule Florida. He's done it.
He homered.
He
homered in the first inning.
Yeah, first inning, but then it was 3-3 until he doubled late and took a 6-3 game up into a 9-3 game and then led to the run rule. He's got 19 home runs. I mean, if you're good enough to start and play 55, 60 games in the SEC in the regular season, if you got a team with talent around you that people don't just have to avoid you, you're going to get your opportunities. And he's a guy that can, have success in that. And that leads to everything else that goes. At this point, he is having a better season at this point in time than Tyler Naquin had his freshman year. Tyler Naquin, the second half of the year, is where he turned into a freshman All-American, then an All-American the 2 years after that.
I was going to say we got maybe a minute left. Everybody, and we'll start off with Richard. Thoughts heading into this series. How do you feel about where they're going and where they're going to go after?
I feel better than I did a couple weeks ago. The offense has come around, and hopefully they can stay hot this weekend. I don't know, guys. You guys probably know better. Kentucky Proud, is the ballpark a little smaller? Is that going to play to
typically smaller?
It's going to play to the so it's going to play to their power potential that we've seen tick up since Minute came back. Just keep it rolling, man, and just keep your fingers crossed that you get some good pitching from them and take a series. Get back to 500 in the league.
I'd like to see Targo run some balls out of the yard. He's been way better, way better since the Ole Miss series. But the power production, he's only got 5 homers. He hit, 17 last year, 16, something like that, 15. So there's plenty of power is still there. I like to see Targo run a few balls out of the yard, see what happens offensively when that happens.
Starting 2 right-handers, it's short to right field. And so the left-handed bats have an opportunity. I don't know how the wind is going to affect that, but, that ballpark, the left-handed power hitters can have good weekends. And look at the left-handed power hitters when Target's going to have the majority of his at-bats from the left-hand side. A&M runs the left-handed power hitters out there, for the left-handers that start every day with the switch hitter. Three in the switch hitter all have big time potential power hitting.
Scott, Richard, Bronny, thank you very much. Appreciate you. All right, right now we're talking Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. When you're looking for a better vehicle for your family, whatever the situation may need, maybe your family's expanding, maybe you just need a new car, you want a new car because you like cars, or you just are in a position where you need to maybe go smaller because you've got, you're empty nesters now. Whatever it may be, consider Caldwell Country Chevrolet when you're looking for a vehicle because they make it super simple. You can go to the website, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com, to start that process, see what they have inventory, and you'll see the great selection, you'll see the great prices. But then you make that drive over to Caldwell, you're going to love the experience out there because the customer service during the process, before, during, and after is fantastic. They have complimentary pickup for all their service customers, and I'm telling you, you will love the customer service experience that you get there from Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Zach Hester holds his crew to a very high standard, and I know you'll come away from that feeling very good about the whole process. It's about a 15-minute drive, Brian, to Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with Zach and the fellas there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. The Twin Oaks Landfill Household Hazardous Waste and Computer Collection event is this Saturday from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Find a list of accepted items and a map of the event location at twinoakshhw.com. The Leach Teaching Gardens at Texas A&M is celebrating the arrival of spring with Hulla Bloom Fest on Saturday morning from 9 to 11:30. Visitors of all ages can make spring-inspired crafts, learn about pollinators, and participate in a butterfly release. Brazos Valley Troupe presents Hollywood Cafe, an original dessert theater review celebrating the best of musical moments from the movies, Friday through Sunday at their 29th Street studio. For reservations, email bvttix@yahoo.com. Your home for Aggie baseball is The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Your home for Aggie softball is Gospel, 97.3 FM. Listen to both at radioaggieland.com. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Progressive presents 10 things on a contractor's to-do list that are harder than getting a commercial auto insurance quote. Bidding a new client, giving an accurate estimate, finding affordable materials, getting a client to pay you for work you already did, getting a client to pay you, period, securing permits and workers and tools, getting those workers and tools to work together, and finding the perfect pair of overalls. Pockets, baby. But the easiest thing on a small business owner's to-do list? Seeing if you can save on commercial auto insurance. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage subject to policy terms and conditions.
Question. Would you pick a chain barbecue place over a hometown joint? Do you root for East Coast universities instead of the local team? Nah, then why choose a big Wall Street bank? A&B started in 1892. 5 generations later, we're still owned and operated by the same Texas family. We support this community. We value your privacy. We make quick decisions, and we hate red tape. We answer to you, not Wall Street. Bank with A&B. Family owned, Texas proud. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
For 30 years, Save Our Streets Ministries has invested in thousands of lives to rescue, restore, and release families from drug and gang-infested environments. Throughout April, SOS aims to raise money to support their growing children's ministries that serves over 500 children. All donations in April will be matched by Stylecraft Builders up to $20,000. Check out the SOS online auction April 10th through April 27th.
If just one comes out, Lord, I dedicate my life this day for just that one. And he whispered back in my ear and said, JJ, I don't just want one, I want them all.
Help us save our streets.
Have you ever dreamed about getting into radio, sports talk radio? The Zone is hiring part-time, no experience required positions are open. You can apply now at zone1150.com. Click contact. We've got openings for TexAgs Radio, the Louis Bellina Show, and board ops to run Aggie football, basketball, baseball, Astros, and more. If you're interested, part-time, no experience required, apply now at zone1150.com. Click contact.
People dream high in the quiet of the night. You know that I caught it. Bad boy, shiny toy with a price. You know that I bought it. Killing me slow out the window. I'm always waiting for you to be waiting below. Devils roll the dice, angels roll their eyes. What doesn't kill me makes me want you more. And it's blue, the shape of your body is blue. The feeling I got it is blue.
Thank you. Is this what you're going to look like tomorrow?
Live view of what I will look like up in the 600 section of NRG Stadium.
For our radio listeners, I apologize. Well, actually,
I'm glad you didn't have to see that.
To our television viewers on the CW and YouTube, I'm sorry about that, and TexAgs.com. It is now time for Around Aggieland, and that is presented by Normandy State Bank. Normandy State Bank, rock solid banking, the website, normandystatebank.com. Kate Nagley.
Good morning. How are you?
¿Cómo estás?
I don't do.
You know that. You live in Texas. You know what "como estás" means.
Okay. I like English personally.
God, that.
No, I'm not meaning that in a bad way.
Sure.
My brain is not awake right now. So
really,
no.
Oh, but you were just dancing.
That was Kennedy.
You were too.
I was just vibing over here.
Yeah, exactly. You said you wanted to ask me something.
I did. Have you heard about all the new AI stuff?
Yeah, thanks for listening to the show yesterday. We did a segment on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Have you seen, they have things on, Snapchat now that, the person, it's, your own little friend that will talk to you It's weird.
What does it talk to you about?
I don't know. Like, you can ask it questions and stuff. But now
Mine
music,
told me its favorite color.
But now it's like music too. So people are taking like just random songs that they make and then
putting
it'll
Drake's
be like,
words to
yeah.
it.
Oh, you know about
yes,
this?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you? I mean,
because I'm in my 40s. Do you think
no,
that
I know.
don't read?
But
the
are
news?
you like wanting Bad Bunny to come out with a fake
No,
song?
I just know at some point Billy's going to be like, why do we even have Nuño? We could just write the script up and have anybody do the show.
That's crazy. They can make you say anything though.
Actually, they can make you say anything too.
That's scary to think about. I don't want them using my
Hey,
voice.
you know what? That'd be a great way to like take vacation. Like you write out you're around Aggieland, send it to ChatGPT, and like, hey, I'm leaving the show early. Boom, play.
That's scary.
Or you could just record it.
That's kind of horrifying. Yeah, all right, yeah, you can just do that.
Record it.
Just go back to the old ways of recording.
Yeah, like it's still the same amount of work. Anyway, what do we have happening in the world of Aggieland? ChatGPT.
In the world of sports, in the world of Aggieland, so obviously baseball been a hot topic of discussion. They picked a run rule victory in the midweek, taking down Prairie View A&M 13-3 at Olsen Field. They had a big inning with 3 homers. I was at that game, and it was pretty exciting. Good to see the Aggie Bats getting back on track, but they will travel to Lexington to take on number 13 Kentucky this weekend. That game was moved today to 3 p.m., so a little afternoon baseball. I know we'll all enjoy that. Those will be on SEC+. And then softball will also head on the road. We'll be going to Oxford, Mississippi. Their game today will be at 5 p.m., also on SEC Network. Men's tennis picked up a win in the second round of the SEC tournament, taking down Vanderbilt. They will face number 6 South Carolina in the quarterfinals today at 6 p.m. Women's tennis also looks to defend its SEC title as they face Vanderbilt today starting at noon. That will be in Arkansas. And then men's golf, after the first 2 rounds of stroke play, the Aggies are tied for first at 12 under par in the SEC Championship in Georgia. They teed off the round 3 of stroke play on Friday at 8:40, so they're already getting underway, and then that is also on SEC Network. Track and field also will be in Baton Rouge this weekend. They could maybe OB can catch a track meet.
Well, I've already told you he's doing some keg stands.
He's doing keg stands. Yeah. I still need to see the videos of this.
We gotta get that.
Yeah.
All right, Kay. Thank you very much.
Of course.
Hey, aren't you going to something later on this week? I'm not gonna say what it is yet. We gotta hold
David,
that.
we already basically announced it. Okay, well, wait. If you want to keep editing this on.
I promise you, at 11:10, you get to say whatever you want for 10 minutes. It's
Oh.
TexAgs Radio. Bye.
Every Tuesday at 1:55 on the Louie Bellina Show, it's the mascot of the week with Long Way Home Adoptables, and thanks to Waggy Pet Zone. How do service dogs learn to perform complicated tasks for their person? Find out by attending Waggy Pet Zone's basic and advanced service dog group classes or private lessons. Sign up at waggypetzone.com. It's the Louie Bellina Show, Monday through Friday, 11 to 2, and brought to you by B&B Automotive and Superior Auto Service.
As a veteran of the United States military, I can finally get the opportunity to enjoy special events, things that we couldn't afford, thanks to VetTix. Every empty seat at a concert, a game, or a play is a missed opportunity to say thanks to a veteran and service member. We can give our veterans a special event where they too can create their own cherished memories. Visit vettix.org. Find out how you can make a difference in a veteran's life.
Your home for Aggie baseball, Aggie basketball, and Aggie football is The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM, plus online at RadioAggieland.com. This is KZNE College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, this is a news update on The Zone. Current and future economic development prospects in West Bryan discussed at this week's City Council workshop. Mayor Bobby Gutierrez supported putting in the city's capital improvements plan, improvements to Mumford Road north of Harvey Mitchell Parkway.
We just announced certainty, the new development over there. We've got 4 other potential things that we're going to probably be announcing very soon. We're looking at potentially 1,000 people working out there, potentially 1,200.
The council is told staff has applied for a grant that, if approved, would cover part of the $8 million cost. Madison County Sheriff's Office investigating the deaths and mutilation of cattle along OSR Highway. Facebook post from the Madison County Sheriff's Office also says 5 similar cases along OSR running into Brazos and Robertson counties. Anyone with information has to contact the Madison County Sheriff's Office. Bryan Police providing to WTAW News new information about an incident that took place Monday at Bryan High School. BHS student not arrested and taken to juvenile detention on the charge of punching another student. BPD spokesman says an officer submitted his report to prosecutors who will determine if an arrest warrant will be issued against the juvenile-age student. A woman from Maryland who spent some time in the Brazos County Jail Wednesday returned yesterday. The woman initially arrested at Eastwood Airport after a Texas A&M police officer said she slapped him in the face. According to the arrest report, that was after TSA asked the woman to leave after she became emotional because she did not agree with the way she was being searched. She returned to jail yesterday after going back to the airport in violation of a criminal trespassing order. Jail records show she was released for the second time this morning. A reminder, Texas A&M's muster ceremony starts tonight at 7 at Reed Arena. Doors open at 5. Muster's worldwide roll call for the absent and the Reed Arena program will be streamed at musterlive.aggienetwork.com. More news in English and Spanish is at WTAW.com. That's a news update on the Zone.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and Aggie broadcast sponsors, Schulte Roofing, Gulf States Toyota, Hargrove Insurance, and Twin Peaks. Here's a big gig to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
If you own construction equipment, you need preventative maintenance, and WPI has you covered with their new on-site service tech. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI has the hoses, filters, and fluids and parts needed to keep your equipment running at maximum performance. For the best price in town on preventative maintenance on every brand of construction equipment, call Jesse James at WPI in Bryan. Highway 21 East at Marina Road. Click WPI.com.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Sean Burnett with your Aggie Sports Minute on The Zone. This update is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click hillcosupply.com. Aggie baseball has won its last 3 SEC series and will have its hands full this weekend as the team heads to number 13 Kentucky for a 3-game series. Coach Schlossnagle spoke with the media yesterday and talked about what Kentucky brings to the table.
Wow, what a explosive offense, strike-throwing pitching staff, experienced team, a lot of older players. And going on the turf, going in some different weather. So what a big challenge and great opportunity.
Game 1 of the series has been moved up due to inclement weather. First pitch will be at 3 p.m. You can listen to the series all weekend long on the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Up next for number 24 softball is Ole Miss on the road for a 3-game series. Game 1 will begin tonight at 5 o'clock. You can hear that game on Gospel 97.3. The Texas A&M men's golf team finished yesterday's second round at the SEC Championships tied with Alabama for the top spot at 12 under. Today is the final round of stroke play, and the team is 13 strokes clear of advancing to the 8-team single elimination match play bracket, which starts tomorrow. The number 21 Texas A&M men's tennis team survived a second-round thriller versus Vanderbilt to earn a 4-3 victory and advance to the quarterfinals of the SEC tournament last night. Up next, the guys will face South Carolina at 6 o'clock tonight. And that's your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Sean Burnett. On Sports Talk, Chip visits with author Jeff Gwynn on the 30th anniversary of the Branch Davidian fire in Waco.
The thing about Waco is that because so many terrible mistakes were made, and they were terrible mistakes, and the people who made them should have been brought to, I think, greater account, even though their professional careers were curtailed. It was horrible. It didn't need to happen.
Sports Talk, not your normal show. Weekdays from 4 to 6 on The Zone.
Look, if you had one shot, one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment that you captured, just let it slip. Yo.
All right, we're back. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. So let me give you the agenda for the 10 o'clock hour. Billy is on his way into the studio. We'll try to get him here on the phone in a moment as we chit-chat about some of the transfers and changes on A&M. You know about the linebacker, J.D. Davis, joining the team. We talked about that at the top of the show. We'll talk to him about that. We're also going to have Terrence Murphy in studio. He was here last week. We only got to speak for a little bit, but today we're going to go a little bit deeper dive into – he's got a camp this upcoming weekend, but we're going to talk football with him. We're just going to find out his thoughts on the direction of the football program and whatnot. So we'll have all that on the show, plus we can get to some of your text messages and whatnot. But as a reminder – a big part of what we're going to talk about, at least for the first 15 minutes of this segment, is about J.D. Davis, the Jackson State linebacker. 6'1", 225 pounds. And again, I want you all to realize that, we'll find out, Billy, what his thoughts are on what kind of role he can play on this year. And I understand all the questions about the linebackers that they absolutely have, right? They absolutely have them. But where does he fit into the equation? So we go to the hotline. And we are joined by Billy Liucci, the co-owner and executive editor of TexAgs.com. Billy, good morning, sir.
Good morning, David.
Talk to me, man. Let's talk a little linebacker situation. You had Aiden Ciano no longer there. Yep. Unfortunately, has to medically retire. But the Aggies do pick up a big one there in J.D. Davis.
Yeah, no question about it. It's a guy that they definitely. Wait, what'd you say about somebody medically retiring?
Aiden Ciano posted on Twitter the Rice preferred.
Oh, the transfer from Rice.
Yeah,
I don't know what he was factoring in. It's unfortunate for him, but hopefully he's here at A&M and student and gets to finish out his degree. But no, I love the J.D. Davis pickup yesterday, man. It's what they need. These last two. Of DeBerry and Davis, you want guys that are. Look, at the end of the day, you want Anthony Hill to be in maroon and white. You want Harold Perkins to be in maroon and white. They need to recruit better at that position. You want more hits like Edgerrin Cooper. But the reality is, when you're going in the portal, there are two things you do. Yeah, you'd love to got the guy from Oklahoma State. You want to get starters, and you want to get veteran guys that have played a lot of football and have a lot of tape. Your evaluations tend to be a lot better when you can do that. And I think in these last couple cases, these are guys that have played a lot of ball. J.D. Davis is a nice physical linebacker. You watch him on tape. He finds the football. He's built for this league. I think he's a great you're going to go, you lost Andre White and you add a guy like him. You lose a couple corners in the portal. You lose Jalen Jones, big experienced corner. You add Tony Grimes, a big experienced corner. You lose, a couple of these depth guys at corner. I don't know that you replaced what Denver Harris could have been, but we need to wait and see what Denver Harris actually is with LSU. We know the talent, but can he keep it together enough to be on the field? That one's a tougher one, but everything else you're losing. You lose some of this corner depth. Well, you replace inexperienced corner depth in the way of Taylor and Gross Killebrew with a guy like DeBerry, who's a 3-time on some level All ACC pick, at one point a second team All ACC pick, played a ton of football. In the case of Davis, you've got a lot of tape to look at from last year. He physically passes the eyeball test. He's been here a couple times. They were very familiar with him. And you want to battle, really probably Kentucky was the team you beat him out for. This is a type guy, David, that I think because of their need at linebacker, I think Aggie fans were very dialed into this one and really wanted him as much as the coaching staff did. But a lot of times in this instance, you see a guy like that, and you don't really think a lot of it. Well, okay, when he ended up at Kentucky, that's probably his level. No, Kentucky plays good SEC defense. And he's the type of guy that would go to a place like Kentucky and be a good SEC linebacker. And that's what A&M needs right now. And DJ Durkin and his defense, they need good SEC linebackers. And they need depth, and they need options. So J.D. Davis, he might start, and he might be a huge addition to this defense, or he might be a backup that's desperately needed, and special teams. And by the way, he's got 3 years, I believe, eligibility remaining. So he could be a guy that not only comes in as an impact player day one and starts, he might do it for the next couple of years. And he could leave as an all-conference pick. You just don't know where these guys are going to come from. But what you do know is you need depth. What you do need is you need to upgrade that room. And you do need somebody to push guys like Chris Russell, Edgerrin Cooper, Martrell Harris. And that's what, at the very least, that's what you're getting here. And you could be getting a lot more.
How do you feel how they've done so far in the portal, Billy?
All right. Solid, not spectacular, but solid. I mean, look, they've done a good job. Now, for me to really call it a good job, David, I think they need to have done a good number at corner and linebacker, which were their biggest areas of need. And so far, I think if they could add one more corner, and by that I mean, like, Chappelle and Grimes are probably your starters, probably. DeBerry's going to come in and make noise. He's a guy that should factor into your play. Let's call it a playing rotation, like a couple deep. I'd like to see them add one more, and a lot of that has to do with the injury situation with Deuce Harmon. And if Deuce is healthy, out of Deuce, McCall, who transferred in from Florida State, and your true freshmen who were kind of banged up this spring, Javon Thomas and Bravion Rogers. Out of those four, I think you could definitely get somebody to fill out, those 5 and 6 spots at corner where you feel good. Okay, now we have real depth. If 2 of those 4 turn out that way, Deuce is that level if he's healthy. He can round out your depth. I think they need one more guy that they'd feel comfortable was going to be in that top 4. In other words, someone that's played a lot that they can really evaluate on tape and say, okay, this guy's good. Now, if you could go get a guy that pushed to start, great. But if you could get a guy that you go, this is depth, he's a 2-deep guy, unless one of those 4 guys push him out, then that's when you feel like, okay, they really address that position. So I think they're one more corner away. At linebacker, I think Davis, he's a big addition. That is a big addition. I'd love it if they could go get one more. The reason I can't say they've done a great job in the portal is because outside of maybe the potential with Grimes, I still think they could use a receiver, which they might do, but they've missed on a lot of really good ones. I think they could use a portal running back, which they might. I could see them getting a guy out of Colorado State. If they do that, they just need a veteran presence in that tailback rotation, I believe. And I also think you need 4 more than 3. I don't think 3 is enough to go into the SEC. So there's a couple minor holes to fill, and I would say they did a good job. Like, if they can add about 3 more guys in the portal to kind of spot fill some of these needs, I would say they did a good job. And I actually think they'll do that. Where I take it to great, I think you've got to add great individual players, and they may have. But I think right now Grimes is probably the most, impressive they've added. You look around the country at what some of these other schools have added, and they've added, some head-turning type guys, and I don't think A&M's necessarily done that yet. I don't think you have to do a good job. I'm just saying to take it to great would be one of these guys. Look, they don't need Bear Alexander at D tackle. I'm sure they would take him, but he can't at this point. He can't transfer within the SEC. And it's my understanding that he did reach out. I'm sorry, my understanding that Tyrone Malone reached out at Ole Miss. I'm sure A&M would love to have either of those guys. They can't come in the SEC now without sitting out a year. So that's where they're at with that. But I'm saying a guy like one of those monster names, and that you feel like instant impact. And hey, maybe it's the linebacker they added last night. That is, by no means is that out of the question. That a guy that played really well at Jackson State could come into the SEC and make an impact. Hell, Durkin had a guy from Maryland go to Ole Miss in his second season. And I'm not saying Maryland and Jackson State are same level, but we don't think of Maryland as a defensive juggernaut, football factory. And that guy came into the SEC, and I forget his name, he's number 33, had a great year there in Oxford for DJ Durkin. So you'd like to see him recreate some of that same magic with this one. If he and Grimes can end up being those dudes, and DeBerry, all of a sudden you go, man, they did a good job defensively in the portal, because they really are just hitting spots. For what everyone says about depth and stuff, they really are hitting spots, and they're starting to fill that roster back up to a number that's acceptable, a number where you go, okay, we're not worried about to me, if they go into a season with like 70 scholarship players, that's a red flag, and that tells me they haven't adapted to the portal and they didn't do a good job as a coaching staff. And that's not going to be the case. They're going to be well above that number. And you don't have to be at 85. I agree with what Jimbo said. Way more often than not, teams are like filling up 3, 4, 5 spots to walk-ons where they're granting them scholarships to fill out that 85. So as long as you're not like 70 or below, low 70s, that's when I start to get concerned about how they handled the portal.
All right, Billy, we'll see you here in studio in a few minutes.
All right, I'll sit down with Murph. It'll be fun.
Yep, see you in a minute. Billy Liucci on the hotline. All right now we are talking about the Association of Former Students. Obviously, muster's happening today. You can check out, or earlier today, they had that live stream at tx.ag/musterlive, but they have so many other things that they're involved in. They are hosting, obviously, the campus muster today, which is hosted by the Student Muster Committee at Reed Arena. Doors open at 5 and begins at 7 p.m., so make sure that you are all about that. We told you about the Coaches Night that the Association of Former Students is always involved in, and they're bringing them. If you live in Dallas, you live in Fort Worth, Austin, San Antonio, Brazos County, make sure you make plans to attend the local A&M Club's Coaches Night. Here are some of the dates for you. In Houston, May 8th, May 9th in San Antonio, May 10th in Fort Worth and Tarrant County. May 11th, Capital City A&M Club. You've got the May 16th, Brazos County A&M Club, and you've got Dallas Club there, Dallas A&M Club, on Wednesday, May 17th. To find out all the info on those, it is tx.ag/coaches night to see the full schedule. Make sure you go do that. But the Association of Former Students is continuing to turn out great events because they love giving back to this great community through scholarships, student assistance programs, Aggie Band, Silver Taps, Ring Day, class reunions, muster, tailgate, traveling Aggies. You name it, they are involved with it. Make sure you check out IamTheWhy.com so you can see the reason that they do what they do and see stories just like yours on there. It is IamTheWhy.com. Again, IamTheWhy.com, the Association of Former Students.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. Arts Council scholarship applications are now open. Requirements and more information is online at acbv.org/scholarships. The Brazos County A&M Club is hosting an off-campus muster event at Legends Event Center this Friday at 7 p.m. Tickets can be purchased online at bcamc.org. The Brazos Valley Astronomy Club meets this Friday evening at 7:30 at the Physics Teaching Observatory Classroom. Dr. Timothy Logan will speak about lightning flash rates and flooding events. Visit BrazosValleyAstronomyClub.org for more information. The Bush Library and Museum is celebrating its 25th anniversary this Saturday. Join them from 5 to 9 p.m. for a community-wide celebration. Your home for Aggie baseball is The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Your home for Aggie softball is Gospel, 97.3 FM. Listen to both at RadioAggieland.com. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Does your bank know your first name? At Normandy State Bank, they do. Normandy State Bank is locally owned, controlled, and operated. This local personal touch means banking decisions are made on site the same day you request it. Normandy State makes banking easy. They're open Saturdays, offer state-of-the-art online banking, bill paying, fund transfers, check and statement images. Normandy State, where customer service is their priority. Normandy State Bank, rock solid. Member FDIC.
We're here with Jackson Rollo from Rollo Insurance. And Jackson, you guys have been around for a long time. You're the very best at what you do. But I ask you, why Rollo Insurance?
Well, we've been growing recently with over 45 offices in multiple states, but we haven't lost who we are. We're still super focused on being hyper-local and involved in the communities in which you're going to find a Rollo Insurance office. And we offer products like home, auto, life, health, and business insurance from some of the top carriers in our industry.
You name it, they do it. Visit RolloInsurance.com.
Join the Community Foundation on Tuesday for their annual celebration of philanthropy. This year's honorees are Phoebe Watts, Congressman Bill and Gina Flores, and Bryan Broadcasting's Ben Downs. The luncheon also recognizes the Community Champion for Business Giving and a Philanthropist of the Day raffle event. To purchase tickets, go to the Community Foundation website or call 589-4305. Lunch begins at 11:30 at the College Station Hilton. Join sponsor Brio Financial Advisors and honor these 4 community leaders for their contribution to make the Brazos Valley a great place to live.
It's Larry from Shelby, previously on the Paul Feinbaum Show.
That makes Quinn Ewers looks better this year if he got a haircut. That's it. He's the same Quinn Ewers. He's the same guy, man. It ain't no different. You know, it's like me and you get a haircut. We look a lot better. I mean, I love your haircut. And anyway, as we go on, Paul.
It's the Paul Feinbaum Show, powered by Polaris Fun Center, 2 to 4 weekdays on the Zone.
And we're back. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Got Billy Liucci.
Yoda.
Hi.
You were
Terrence,
very
what's up?
upset this morning.
I was not upset.
Murph, be careful, man. He is on one today.
So I made this comment on the show yesterday, and today I got flack for it, that I think A&M has less question marks in April than Bama. I still think Bama's
You're
in a
not
better
wording it right. You
Okay,
worded it better yesterday. Today, you let Dodds get he did just eviscerated you.
I don't think he did. He agreed with me by the end of it.
No, because you're wording it wrong.
How should I
got
word
what
it?
you said yesterday. You were right, in my opinion. First of all, you said offense.
Mm-hmm.
You said the A&M offense has less questions
Yes.
than Bama's. And you're also saying that doesn't mean they're going to be better. By the way, the A&M offense might be better than Bama's, and Bama might go 11-1, and A&M might go 8-4.
Yes.
Bama's going to live and die with what they can do defensively, who they can stop, how easy they can create things for their offense. But Bobby Petrino, I don't think is a question mark. I think the question mark becomes, what will Jimbo let him do? And I think people are way overblowing that, but fine, let's call it a question. Tommy Rees is a real question mark at Bama. He's young. The Notre Dame offense was good, but it's nothing like what Bobby Petrino's done in his career. Murph's watched it. He had, he a family at Arkansas, A&M.
Yep.
He watched what Petrino was doing. And then quarterback, Connor Wigman, Max Johnson. It sounds to me like Alabama's really concerned about that position. Mm-hmm. They're looking in the portal. They're trying to go get Van Dyke from Miami. So, okay, that's legit. I think both teams lost their best running back and a really good running back. I think they like their, Jason McClellan and some of those guys. I'm sure A&M. At wide receiver, I think maybe you're not quite giving enough credit to Bama's guys. I think they were pretty good last year, but so are A&M's. Call that a push. Moose, who's coming in later today. Evan, Anias, and Noah Tom, tight ends. Bama lost their guy that's played for them the last couple of years. He's going to the NFL. He's a good one. And A&M brings back 3 that they like. So, O-line, A&M's O-line wasn't good last year. They also returned 7 guys that started. They've got NFL-bound veterans. They've got young guys. And Bama's O-line wasn't good and lost more than A&M's. So, if people had time to let it marinate, not only do they have less question marks, they have a chance, let's say, to be every bit as good. And to me, if they don't, then the guys across the street have failed this year. Or your quarterback play is not good, or your O-line,
and that can't happen in back-to-back years.
They should be good, right, Murph? How do you feel about this year's offense?
Yeah. I wasn't ready for that question right out of the gate.
Yeah.
That's a
we
hamburger.
Jumped right in.
I had an emotional year last year.
Yeah.
Watching A&M football.
Yep.
And I'm one of the people I always want to be positive.
Yeah.
because it's just so easy to sit on the couch and point fingers. But I think at the same time, there's a level of accountability that we expect as Aggies, as former football players, as donors, as alumni. I mean, you look at this facility across the street. You look at the pay scale that we've provided. You look at the location, SEC. I mean, there's really no excuse.
No.
But, yeah, I think for me, the Petrino move was very intriguing. We've seen his offenses be very creative. And I think that's what we got to do. I've said this. If you cannot – it used to be, remember, great defense. You know, people don't really understand, like – and I'm not here to pat myself on the back, but I'm a historian when it comes to college football.
Yeah.
Because I had 3 older brothers that played. And my oldest brother was the #1 recruit in the state of Texas.
Yeah, went to Arkansas, right?
Went to Baylor.
Baylor,
Grant Taft.
right.
My best friend went to Arkansas, and then cousins went to UT and Houston, whatever. So, I mean, I literally was here in '94 and watched the '94 A&M team play when I was in 5th grade.
Yeah.
So I've been around Aggie football
college student.
a long time, bro. So I say all that to say, the one thing I've said about Aggie football from last year is, you're not going to win big right now in college football if you can't throw the ball down the field. If you don't have explosive plays, you're just not going to win. Doesn't matter how good you run the ball, doesn't matter how good you hurry up offense, doesn't matter how good you play defense, you got to throw the ball down the field. So I was blown away at times where we just never took shots. And it just you can't win in college football. And that was the adjustment. When we in 2012 did what we did with Cliff Kingsbury and Johnny and Summy, the hurry up offense. What does Nick Saban always do? He complains about something, then the next year he does it.
He does it, yeah.
He complained about our collective, then the next year he had it.
Yeah.
Because he adapts fast. And that's what I want to see us do. We got to throw the ball down the field. We can't be running slant routes and hook routes and 5-yard hitches all game, which is not going to win that way.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm excited to see.
You bring up something really interesting here. You were a part of an overnight turnaround.
Yep.
And it had to do with, I feel like, utilizing and attacking the whole field vertically, sideline to sideline. It had to do with tempo. It had to do with an attitude change of like you guys went from passive to attack mode overnight in a week.
In a week.
Sumlin told me we're going to score on the first drive. He said, and I whatever, it's statute of limitations is up. The guy at Texas Tech at the time was McMack, and he had a name for himself as a DC, and someone said, he's not any good. We're going to score on the first drive. And this streak of like 15 quarters without a touchdown pass is over on the first drive. You know when it ended? First play.
First play.
Texas Tech hit Bethel. He took it to, remember that play?
Gone.
That game, you guys went off.
48 points. I think 47-48. We lost in triple overtime.
Welker and Cliff, that was the game.
Cliff Kingsbury, Welker, and all those guys. 47-48.
Now, with that said.
Missed 3 field goals.
Was that Leach? That was Leach, yeah.
Yep.
That was early Leach. With that said, the irony of it all, by the way, is that the offense was stagnant and couldn't do anything under Dino Babers. What did he do? He went to Baylor, adapted, and now he's a really highly regarded offensive coach at Syracuse.
He is.
So both those instances show you can have an about face, you can change, but I think for Jimbo to change and have an about face, he needed a veteran in his ear that he respected and really knew, like, okay, this can be a two-way street because I know this guy knows what he's doing because I've seen it firsthand, and I really respect his offensive acumen. And the same thing, by the way, that no one talks about enough, and I keep saying this, is Jim Chaney. You've got probably, I don't know if I'm exaggerating, Murph, but when you were at Texas, when you were in high school, Jim Chaney was at Purdue coaching under Joe Tiller and coaching Drew Brees.
Correct.
So we're going back almost 25 years, and I don't know what his resume was before that. And then Bobby Petrino. You've got probably 40-plus years of offensive coordinating experience that you've added to everything Jimbo already had. So the potential is there they just all have to figure out how to get there. And that's the big question mark.
Yeah, and I think also, too, is just the quarterbacks being able to play and just a little looser. They look uptight to me. Where you cannot play this game with fear, and you can't play it being afraid to make a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And guys, Jimbo saw issues, and he went and he made changes.
Yeah.
So all these questions that are coming at A&M, are they really going to evolve? He did changes. Now we got to see it play out.
Yeah, he doesn't have to sit there. Okay, Murph's we like to think we're competitive. This dude's one of the most competitive people I know. You were an athlete at the highest level.
Yeah.
And you had to earn it. Jimbo Fisher didn't get to A&M by not being competitive. So you're going to ask an fiery, intensely competitive guy like, hey, Terrence Murphy, come up here and to all of us in the media, tell us why you sucked last year.
Yeah, that's tough.
At football, in your business. You're not going to sit there and go, yeah, you're right. You know what? It didn't work, and it's all my fault. You're going to go and say, we're going to fix it, and you're going to go shut the door in that building. And he has taken the necessary steps to fix it. That is him saying that wasn't good enough. I don't know why he has to stand there and verbalize and say it out loud and have it go out all over the media and have people use it against him in recruiting. And just go get it done.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Are you going to a break? Because I want to talk to him a little more about the offensive stuff because I'm really interested to hear his side of it.
Yeah, let's do that. But right now, let's talk a little Costa Vida. You know all about Costa Vida. It's the place to go to get your food on there in South College Station. So if you got a graduation coming up, you got to think about them for catering. Perfect for graduation, perfect for parties, perfect for weddings, you name it. Holly and the crew over there are going to take amazing care of you, especially this time of year when you've got to get some food for a big group coming over. Have Costa Vida take care of you. They are in South College Station, and they are fresh Mex and their food done the right way. Holly brought that vision here to town, and it is taken off, and it's so, so good. My kids always want to have the quesadillas out there. They've got so many other great entrees out there as well. They've got the chili lime chicken. We've talked to you about those. The breakfast tacos. In the morning when you go there, you go get the breakfast tacos. Holly's got them fresh. They're so, so good. And they got a new addition as well, chorizo. So that is the place to go when it comes to catering, when it comes to breakfast, when you need to have a breakfast, a morning meeting, get your coffee and your breakfast tacos on, your lunch after the show. Maybe that's a great place to go. There's no maybe to it. It is. And dinner as well. Fresh Mex done the right way. It is Costa Vida in South College Station. They got all the great menu items, fresh Mex done the way you want it. Go check out Costa Vida.
We are going. Are you ready? The Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. We play like we're first, train like we're in second.
It's time. Oh, here we go!
Let's go! Let's go!
For 23 years, you've told us who you think is the best, and nominations are now open for the 23rd year of the Best of the Brazos Valley. Go to bestofthebrazos.com and submit your nominations for the best in dining, entertainment, service, retail, automotive, health, and wellness, and everything in between. If you think it's the best, make sure it's on the Best of the Brazos ballot. After 23 years and almost 1 million votes, this is the one that counts. Nominate now at bestofthebrazos.com.
Hi, this is Kelly Adams with Girard Construction, custom home builders for the Brazos Valley since 2002. Our business was founded on providing a quality product with excellent customer service. We believe our best source of business is our satisfied clients. We want you to be happy. That's why we're hands-on in each project. We are on-site and available to you when you have questions. At Girard Construction, we don't just build homes, we build relationships. Let's build your dream home together. Visit us at girard-construction.com.
For 30 years, Save Our Streets Ministries has invested in thousands of lives to rescue, restore, and release families from drug and gang-infested environments. Throughout April, SOS aims to raise money to support their growing children's ministries that serves over 500 children. All donations in April will be matched by Stylecraft Builders up to $20,000. Check out the SOS online auction April 10th through April 27th.
If just one comes out, Lord, I dedicate my life this day for just that one. And he whispered back in my ear and said, JJ, I don't just want one, I want them all.
Help us save our streets.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and Aggie broadcast sponsors, Zwerneman Flooring, Lance Lester at the Lester Group, Specs Wines, Spirits, and Finer Foods, and Amarillo National Bank. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
It's mowing season in the Brazos Valley, and you can make quick work on your property with a zero-turn rider mower from Ferris or Cub Cadet. Hi, this is David, reminding you whether you're mowing a lawn or a large commercial property, Kyra's Truck Center has what you need in stock right now to get you started. Stop by and let us show you how to make mowing as close to fun as it gets with a zero-turn rider at Kyra's Truck Center. Highway 21, half-mile east of the bypass in Bryan.
Have you ever dreamed about getting into radio, sports talk radio? The Zone is hiring part-time, no experience required positions are open. You can apply now at zone1150.com. Click contact. We've got openings for TexAgs Radio, the Louis Bellina Show, and board ops to run Aggie football, basketball, baseball, Astros, and more. If you're interested, part-time, no experience required, apply now at zone1150.com. Click contact.
I get up in the evening and I ain't got nothing to say. I come home in the morning, I go to bed feeling the same way. I ain't nothing but tired.
And we're back. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate the messages on the YouTube chat, texags.com, and, of course, the A&B text line. T. Murphy's with us. Billy's with us. I've been kind of rude to Kennedy over there. She's going to a big show this weekend, and I keep telling her she can make an announcement of what concert she's going to. We'll do it at 11:10 after the show. She can tell the audience.
I mean, I think we all know, obviously. And I'll be lying if I say I didn't look for tickets this morning. Sometimes you can go the morning of, and you'll hit like a normal price ticket, like right when they drop.
I found some last night on Ticketmaster.
How much were they?
They were $49, but there was a weird thing that it's a long explanation.
Don't
I'll
do
tell
that.
you after the
Don't
show.
do that.
But
$49. I didn't mean that. I meant like
Real
$400. Like $49, you're going to be sitting behind a beam at the top of Reliance Stadium.
That's true. That's true.
I meant like $300 before fees, which
that's
means
a
like
lot for
$400.
me,
But that for Taylor Swift,
your idol,
that would be good. I've seen her twice. She's really good. I didn't seek it out. They came my way. I said, sure, I'll go. Fun concert. A lot of songs that you might not think, and you're bopping your head to.
And you know them.
Yeah, because you hear them on the radio. So, and by the way, some of them are good.
Yeah, I know they're good. I just don't want to go.
It's a good show. You also you factor that in. That's why I want to see Morgan Wallen. I heard he puts on a great show. But tickets these days, what they're doing in that industry is criminal. What these Vivid
brokers
Seats and the ticket brokers, it is a crime what they're doing in terms of, for especially like say Taylor Swift or like younger fans. If you have to spend to go like, and God forbid you're bringing a date and you're paying for the date, and it's going to cost you $2,000 plus to get 2 tickets.
I ain't going.
Not making it.
Yeah. And then what about like your kids want to go, and it's like, I'm sorry, kids, you can't go because it's $500 each, and I've got 3 kids that have to go. How can you do it?
So this is where I stand on concerts. I would much rather go to a smaller venue. I'm not paying a lot of money to be at NRG. Now, if somebody gives me free tickets, I'll go.
Yeah, those are big venues. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it. Who would you spend money to go see?
Like an artist?
Yeah.
Maverick City.
Okay.
Really?
Yep. Yeah. I would spend money to go see them.
All right, Billy.
I'm a big concert guy, so I'll spend money even on things that I don't love. It's just like
that's what you do in your social time a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I like. Yeah, I mean, I go to a lot of concerts, and I go to some that I'm all over the map. I might go see Maverick City. I might go see Taylor Swift. If you called me and said, "Do you want to go see Bad Bunny?" I would go, and I would pay for tickets. I'm not even a fan.
Lucci's an experienced guy.
Yeah.
That's who he's been.
Yeah.
As long as I've known him.
Right?
He's an experienced guy.
I'm going to go.
He likes new experiences.
Yeah, and I like I would go to Maverick City with
and
you.
And he's a relational guy. Like
right.
He's got with the right crowd, he'll go.
The right group, you'll go.
Like I would go with you to go see that concert, and we'd either go with Erica and I bring a date, or we'd find some old buddies to go, and we go have a dinner.
Yep.
And we go to the concert, and I'd have a great time.
Yeah. You said you wanted to ask him a little bit more about the offense.
Yeah, and I want to. Well, how long is this segment? Because
We've got 8 minutes.
Okay.
You got time.
And then we got another segment I want to talk about, make sure we get in, because tomorrow's the big day.
Yep.
Yeah, tomorrow's the camp. And Murph was telling me some exciting, stuff going on. So, not really about the offense, because I think we all agree it's got to, make a dramatic turn for the better, and they got to score more points, and they've got to move the ball more efficiently and week after week, and we need quarterback play. I just want to ask you, I want to talk receivers, because I know over the years, at times, people don't know this, but you've offered your time and effort and insight, and you've come up here and worked with some of the guys over the years.
Yep.
Going back, I think even before Christian Kerr,
and Jeff Fuller and all those guys.
Yeah, going back
Way
to the
back.
Sherman days and on through. So I know there's probably not a position on the field that you watch more intently.
Mm-hmm.
What have you seen from this group, and kind of what are some areas you're excited about, and what are some areas you go, man, I need to see them as a unit get better at this year before we can really take off?
Yeah, that's a great question, Liucci. Actually, like I said, I'm a historian, bro. Whether it was Albert Cannell, Chris Cole, CT, Ferg, Bum, even, Rob Bernstein, tight end / receiver. I've always just kind of studied the history of receivers. And when I got here, Big Game is our guy.
Yeah, Duncan.
Big Game James I would go literally we call it the dungeon, when they used to have the film room under Kyle Field.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be the only guy not on staff that would be in there with him and Andy, just in there hanging out, looking at VHS tapes and dubbing and stuff. The point is, the one thing that I don't see us doing, we're not physical.
Mm-hmm.
Our receivers aren't physical.
Yeah.
And that was, you saw that pivot when Sherman came, and then Sumlin, they were throwing the ball so much. When you're getting 16 targets a game, and, we used to get 2 to 3 targets.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing the rest of the time. You're blocking. So I would just say, I want to see our guys be more physical, even when they get the ball, be a little more physical, because that was we were called the G's, the Gorillas, for a reason. That's the history that was created. And I remember when I went and spoke to the receivers at one point, they didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
I was like, how did that tradition, how do you guys not know that we're the Gorillas? And it kind of morphed into the animal gorilla, but it really started off as the guerrilla warfare. This was a military
we're going to battle.
thing. Yeah, it was a military thing, a fatigue type deal. So, I just want to see them be a little more physical.
Was that Ace that started that? Aaron
Yeah,
Oliver?
Ace started it. Yeah, Ace started it in the late 90s.
He hadn't finished it, because I get Ace will send you, Aaron Oliver, a good buddy of ours going way back, and he'll send me these. He's the king of text messages, but voice text that are 4 minutes long, and you just know it's him going on a rant.
Yeah.
If there would be a more entertaining guy to get on radio,
he would be
talk
him.
about A&M sports, it would be him. But
you got to bleep out everything.
He'd bleep out everything, and his blood pressure would be through the roof every time. This guy just can't handle it. Any sports he does not care about,
he's passionate.
He will
about.
go, just off the rails on. But anyway, go back to our receivers.
No, just more physical, and then I would like to see them have a little more freedom in their routes.
Okay.
I've been to maybe one practice, and I'm calling out the route scheme before it happens.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think having more options, where it's an option route to push up and curl up, corner, or go dig. I think we just need a little more creativity. Mm-hmm. That's where you see guys stacking the box and just manning our guys up.
Let me follow that up, because if you can call it as you see it as they're lining up, what are the opposing teams doing?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Well-coached ones. Anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I don't say that disrespectfully. I know the game really well, and I've studied it. But, by alignment, when you get at the top of the numbers, you get middle of the numbers. If this guy's off the ball, that guy's on the ball. If they're in a trips formation, and you just kind of start seeing those tendencies. And if you don't have different looks, so the 3 things, if you ask me, and I would say we need to take more shots. We need to run more double move routes. I believe that's why that's why, if you look at Green Bay, you had Brett Favre, you had Aaron Rodgers, and it doesn't matter who they put at receiver, they look like Pro Bowlers.
Yeah.
It's because in that offense, there was always a double move. There was always we call it a money shot. And I think that keeps the defensive backs accountable. I just didn't see many double move routes.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think with DBs now and all the extra glitz and glam around it in the social media, double move them, especially Alabama.
I like what I'm hearing, and I like the potential for us to see more of that type stuff, the option routes, things like that, because of kind of the shift in philosophy. I wouldn't say change. I think it's still going to be a lot of Jimbo's core beliefs and concepts, but the shift in philosophy and approach. But also, Murph, how much more confident did Sumlin and your coaches at Green Bay, how much more confident do they get as the experience goes up?
Yeah.
Because Anias is a senior. Moose is going into year 4 and had that breakthrough end of the season there. Evan Stewart, no longer a true freshman. Had a nice true freshman year, but no longer. Maybe we don't see those games like we did early in the year with drops. Maybe he's and then Noah Thomas even, year 2 got a little playing time under his belt. So how much more can you do as you guys, as receivers, gain experience and kind of understand what it is you're looking at?
I'll add the last pillar to what I was saying earlier and then answer that question. More physical, more option routes, more double moves, but then also rotating people in the formation. If you look at, that's what we did when we snuck up on OU that year. Belter was in the slot a couple times, and Greg Porter was out wide. Then I was in the slot. We were able to play different roles. So now, because it's like, all right, if we go trips right into the boundary, we have these tendencies if we put Anias in the same position. But if we look up and he's out wide, that messes with the defensive team so much. So I would like to see, if these guys are more experienced the way they are, see them rotate the positions while they're on the field. Not a wholesale rotation where it's like you see them all coming on the field, what the formation is. Like,
the package.
We're staying in the huddle, and we'll run this package, but then we'll switch, run that package, and we never come off the field.
God, you got to be able to do that with Anias's versatility. A tight end like tight ends like
Donovan
Green and Johnson. You got it, and then Evan Stewart. Evan played outside almost exclusively last year.
The whole time.
I think he's a natural slot anyway, or inside guy. And then
the whole
Moose
time.
can move. Yeah, I think that's a great.
This is the year. If there was ever a year that A&M could rotate guys, this would be it.
Okay.
Hey, I'm going to hit a break here, but I just want to read this out loud. I don't know if you guys saw this. The NFL suspends 5 players, including Jamison Williams, for violation of NFL gambling policy. C.J. Moore and a couple other names on there from Ian Rappaport. So just throwing it out.
My man Rappaport.
Yep, breaking news out
there. Sat by him on the plane to Colorado.
Oh, yeah?
The rap sheet.
When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about Murph's camp that starts tomorrow. He's got some cool things happening. We'll talk about that and maybe a couple text messages. It's TexAgs Radio.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. The Twin Oaks Landfill Household Hazardous Waste and Computer Collection event is this Saturday from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Find a list of accepted items and a map of the event location at twinoakshhw.com. The Liucci Teaching Gardens at Texas A&M is celebrating the arrival of spring with Bloom Fest on Saturday morning from 9 to 11:30. Visitors of all ages can make spring-inspired crafts, learn about pollinators, and participate in a butterfly release. Brazos Valley Troupe presents Hollywood Cafe, an original dessert theater review celebrating the best of musical moments from the movies, Friday through Sunday at their 29th Street studio. For reservations, email bvttix@yahoo.com. Your home for Aggie baseball is The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Your home for Aggie softball is Gospel, 97.3 FM. Listen to both at radioaggieland.com. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
If you own construction equipment, you need preventative maintenance, and WPI has you covered with their new on-site service tech. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI has the hoses, filters, and fluids and parts needed to keep your equipment running at maximum performance. For the best price in town on preventative maintenance on every brand of construction equipment, call Jesse James at WPI in Bryan. Highway 21 East at Marina Road. Click WPI.com.
Keyshawn, J. Will,
and Max.
Key, at what point did your food, the palate or whatever, change? When you started making money, when you got to USC?
When the fish sticks turned to Branzino?
I would probably say, to be honest with you, once I got to college, fish sticks, I graduated from them a long time ago.
Why? Why would anyone want to graduate from fish sticks?
I love fish sticks.
You can like
They're
the
the
Branzino and the fish sticks. This is what I mean. Y'all are a bunch of food snobs.
Dude, I'm
What
not
is it,
eating
y'all.
fish
Keith the one
sticks.
deboning fish?
Fish sticks?
If your kid has some fish sticks on the
come
plate
on, man.
and they don't finish them, you're not going to eat the fish sticks?
are the best.
Oh, I'm so happy.
No, we're beyond that right now, fish sticks.
I love fish sticks.
Not doing
Well,
it.
Jay has like tofu.
Combine
fish sticks and tofu snacks.
Oh, God.
Tofu sticks, same thing.
Fish sticks probably got about yay meat and everything else is all bread.
Well, that's
Come
the
on,
problem. I wish there was a little
Yeah.
more fish in there.
Stop.
Mornings 5 to 8 on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Powered by WC Tractor.
Final segment of the program, TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Murph's still with us. We got Liucci with us. Let's put it right next to each other, Billy. Let's talk a little bit about the camp tomorrow. It's
Yeah,
tomorrow's.
man. Tomorrow's camp, Brazos Christian, Terrence Murphy Camp, Football, Finance, and Faith. We've gotten a lot of support here in Aggie Land, I think, and we're excited. I think we have over 550 kids signed up.
Is there still room? People
There's still room.
sign up?
Still room. If you just go to terrencemurphy.com, click on the TM Camp. And we need more volunteers, man. We are outnumbered. But, yeah, it went really well last year and the year before. It's our third annual camp.
And what's the time of it again?
So we're going to be starting at 8 a.m.
Okay.
At Brazos Christian tomorrow.
And you got some, I guess, some special guests.
Yeah, I got
Planning
some
on
guys
coming?
coming in, man. Yeah, Robert Ferguson's coming in. Bethel Johnson, he's won, 2 Super Bowls with the Patriots.
Yeah.
Mike Montgomery's coming in.
Okay.
We got some other guys coming in. So I think last year we had 20 D1 guys that played D1 and about 15 NFL guys show up.
Oh, wow.
It was a good turnout.
Awesome. Ferg, man, in today's transfer portal era, he's the first person that made you realize 1 year you can get plenty done out of school. Like what he did that 1 year. I mean, he set the tone for, I think, the position
at A&M.
Connell was right before him, but I think it set the tone of, like you talked about, for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
All of y'all kind of embraced that mentality and stuff. So yeah, I love the fact that his daughter's softball here, and he's really into it. He's really into A&M. His daughter obviously, but also A&M softball, and brings a guy like that back to the fold to A&M, and for 1 year, and he was one of the greats.
How close is that group of wide receivers from the different incarnations?
Yeah, we keep in touch, man. We had a Facebook group going at one point, but yeah, we keep in touch a lot, and I think that's what us getting back around. It was great to see everybody last weekend. Luch was out there with us, seeing all the guys that came back for the Letterman and the reunion, because these guys that are here now need to see us. They need to know the history of what we've done and how we set the pace for everybody that's here.
For the camp, it doesn't matter what skill level, you welcome them all.
Yeah, we welcome them all. I mean, even the first year, we even had it for special needs. So we had special needs kids out there. Obviously, we had them in different drills. But we don't turn anybody away, man. This is a free camp for kids in the community. And we're just trying to pour into the babies, and it's a nonprofit. So we're trying to give back. It's just a vision that God gave me, and I'm just following it.
Love it.
How much fun is it for you when you're with the kids and just I'm sure you've had some repeat visitors, right?
Yeah. It's been cool. And here's the thing.
Are the little Murphys involved?
The kid, my babies, they are. And Junior, he's out there trying to tear it up. He's something else, man.
How old is he?
He's 6, about to be 7.
All right.
And the head coach at Penn State sent us a message saying I'm offering him a full ride to Penn State right now. So I told Mark over at A&M, because Mark's my guy, Mark Robinson. I said, man, y'all better get on Junior early, because I don't want any Aggies pissed off at me.
Yeah.
Like
you're like, it's
listen,
not me.
I'm not gonna get involved in all that. Yeah.
Let me ask you about that, because I do think those early contacts, regardless if they're little kids or 15 years old, that first contact, I think, does go a long way in leaving a mark.
It does. I mean, I got my first letter from Baylor in like 6th grade. Mm-hmm. So, I mean.
And you went to A&M, so it really left a mark.
No, but it probably
remember, I was committed to Baylor, though.
You were,
Luch.
that's right.
I was committed to
about
Baylor.
To go to Baylor.
So what changed your mind?
Man, I didn't want to. At the time, Baylor was bad. They hadn't won a Big 12 game in 8 years? So I just didn't want to go carry a program on my back. I did that at Chapel Hill. So I wanted to go to a university that was winning.
And then was there a teammate, a person, somebody who was like, yeah, this is the right fit for me?
Ask me that again.
So was there like a person that maybe that this is why I want to go to A&M? Yes, I want to win, but was there a connection to the university beyond where A&M was as a program?
Man, it's funny we even having this conversation. Luce just said it. Robert Ferguson.
Okay.
He was at TJC, which is pretty much right down the street from my high school. And so watching him leave East Texas and come play the way he played at A&M. And I came on an unofficial visit when we played OU and College Game Day was here and all that. And I was like, man, I need to come here. Because he showed that Texas A&M can throw the football. And then obviously 2 years later with what Bethel and myself and Greg and JT did, set the tone.
Let's go to Kennedy Cabin. She's got a text message for T. Murph.
All right.
Hey, sorry, I was like
So
really
awkward.
unprepared there for a second.
They're thinking about Taylor Swift.
Yep, that's all in my mind. Tayag and Taylor said, I loved watching T. Murph on the field, and I was watching the night when he went down to North Carolina. The story he and OB put on TexAgs about his journey to now is a must-read, and I love even more watching T. Murph follow God's plan for his life and for giving back in such a meaningful way to those around you. Gig 'em.
Here. That was good.
Wow. I mean, how do I respond to that? Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm blessed. I'm really a walking miracle. I mean, if you saw the injury, me getting paralyzed. And I just, man, look, Luch known me since I was, 17, 18?
Yeah.
I haven't changed up. When I was at the height of my career, no matter where I'm at in business now and what I'm doing in the business world, I'm just blessed to be here and just work hard and try to treat people right.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Murph, always, bud. Let's do it again.
Love you, brother.
Good luck this weekend.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me.
For the camp, how people can get more details if they still want to
Yeah, so if you want to, TerrenceMurphy.com.
Easy.
And look it up, and we'll see you guys at the camp, man. We're going to be having 600 kids out there having a great day.
Billy, 40 seconds left on the show. That's
Wow.
it. Kentucky series. This could be a point that really tells you where the rest of the season goes.
Well, I think for that part, the next 3 weeks are all. And look, these teams are beatable. So is A&M. That's the craziness of the SEC right now. You know, Arkansas is down one game already at Georgia. Georgia can test, these teams. Missouri took a game from A&M. Well, they also took one from Vandy and almost won two. It's anyone's game. You'd love to have the home field edge here, but this is a monster series. If the Aggies can win their fourth SEC series in a row and do it against a good Kentucky team, man, you could really see this thing get going. And it is crunch time because you better play good baseball in these next 3 weeks because coming out of it, you might be in too deep a hole to recover from. Or on the flip side, you could start talking about, damn, you might be able to host a regional. You could get there.
Thank you, Billy.
All right.
Thank you, Murph. All right, we'll see you all next week. Thank you very much for watching TexAgs Radio.
When it comes to your financial journey, Charles Schwab believes you shouldn't have